Hello. How you all doing today? We are in a Ace of Clubs week. We're ending a Ace of Clubs week. Um, a very curious card based upon knowledge, information. And I did have the essence and the presence of two Ace of Clubs this week. Actually, about three, right? So I'm definitely in their life path. Um, Let me see. Present. Share screen. So I will show their life path. Oh, oops, I exited out of it. So I'm sorry. I actually had it up. So the Ace of Club is based upon knowledge, information. Also says they are born a mystic, and we will see why. So we have changed up the flow of certain things and events and how we're going to do some things. It's going to be more of a Q&A, also discussion about the weekly in the past, and a little breakdown of the card as well. So we do have some questions this week, which I posted on my Instagram, which is the same thing as this YouTube. And name will change a little bit as well. The YouTube name is RASHAD, and the cards, the letter N cards, and that is also my Instagram name. So keywords for the Ace of Clubs is projects, curiosity, questions, communication, you know, computers, library, a wealth of knowledge, but they may not admit it. Stalking, invasion of privacy. And you can get that from Aquarius app as well, app.aquariusmaximus.com. And we have the investigator himself, the genius. His Mercury is in Gemini, right? Or you have what you have in Gemini, Nick?
What you say? What?
Your Mercury,
Scorpio.
your Mercury.
Scorpio.
Oh, you had Chiron in Gemini.
Yeah,
Not
Chiron.
about them. I'm sorry. They always say, you want to give people life away. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. He also lives in Neptune as well, on which I said I will share the screen to kind of show their spread. Hello, Gina.
Good morning. Look who's here for this Ace of Clubs energy.
Good morning, Gina. How are
Good
you?
morning. How are you?
Pretty good. Good to see y'all.
You too. Well, I don't see your face. If I can get on, you can get on.
Right, right.
Come on now. How's it going, y'all? I'm
Going
still
pretty
asleep.
good.
Going pretty good. No complaints. How about you? How's this week been for? Is it Brooklyn, the
Yeah,
youngest?
she been on one. Let me tell you. I had to check that little one a few times this week. I was like, I don't know where it's happening. Oh, yeah. I know what's happening. I was like, I don't know who you're talking to like that.
It's a close week, right?
But you know, it's funny. So I've been taking her to the chiropractor, and they had like this raffle thing. Every time you came in, you got a little ticket to put into like a bunch of different, prizes. And then we go in this week in an Ace of Clubs week, and guess who won? Brooklyn. I was like,
Oh,
ah.
that's great.
And I even told her, I was like, it's an Ace of Clubs week. It's your week. That's so dope. She's like, oh my God. It was cute.
Oh man, I missed the lottery last night.
Right.
I'm the Jupiter of them. I was like, yeah, why wouldn't you go and play the lottery? You are tripping. Like, what's up? Like,
You
I
gotta
was.
play. You gotta play to win, right?
Yeah, you gotta play to win. Oh gosh, I was thinking that last night, but oh man, how you doing, Nick? Did you go play the lottery? Do you play the lottery?
I don't play the only when somebody buys it for me and they're like, "Come on, you need to do it," and then I'll do it. But no, I don't. I don't really play it.
Yeah, I had to wait that third diamonds be more. I ain't gonna say you're not optimistic, but you are, of course. I always get the Ace of Clubs, so I always have them around me. I'm running into a lot of them randomly. One just actually just texted me. But I think that's the thing with the three of diamonds. I was talking to one yesterday and about her business, and I just was like, as far as I never thought about business and consulting people, but as the ace of clubs and with me being the three of diamonds, I think speaking about business and talking about business is like very beneficial. I left the conversation. I was like, dang, that was some really good ideas. She was like, yeah, that's a good idea. But when you think about business and consulting, you think you have to be in the business a lot of times. I have personal experience, but sometimes it's just a point of view, or because you have the five of clubs, so it can be change your opinion as long as it's a good idea, right? So it has the five of clubs. I'm already getting into the spread, right? It has the five of clubs, the ace of clubs. Let me kind of explain what I'm doing. Thank you for Nick. Kind of, he was like, "Y'all just be everywhere sometimes." Okay, so so it is the ace of clubs week, and I'm speaking about their spread. Okay, so whenever you're looking at a spread, yeah, the Mercury is the queen of clubs, Venus, the ten of spades, Mars, the five of clubs, and Jupiter, the three of diamonds. So what I'm speaking about now is the five of clubs and the three of diamonds. The five of clubs being Mars, which is action, change your opinion, your idea, creativity. And also you have the three of diamonds, which is me. So this is how it plays out in life. That's how you look at relationships around you. You're able to kind of learn, and also kind of looking at the energy, I guess, as well, and how you use the energy and how we walk these particular paths, and we're examples without even really sometimes acknowledging it, right? Like we can look at somebody and be like, okay, I see your card, I know your card, but then you may not see it as obvious. So this is why we like recommend books to get a basic idea, because it'll tell you most of everything what I just said and how it kind of plays out. And then you're able to kind of see it more clear. Or also take classes, because there's a lot of things that Aquarius and Gino and observation that the books won't tell you as well. Kind of like last week, we pointed to the sevens all having kings and Neptune. And the example with Lizzo, and I had told her, heavy is the head that wears the crown, and they crowned the king of clubs, and I didn't even really realize it either. So, but yeah, so
Yeah, I'm actually I'm starting my course up again in on the 20th. I'm gonna do
mm,
my 8 week. Yeah, I'm gonna do my 8 week course again on the 20th. So if anybody's interested, email me at guidedbythecards@gmail.com, and I'll send you over the outline and all the details. It's 8 weeks. It was really good. So I'm excited to bring it back.
so
And
what?
that makes sense though. That this is Gina, the Jack of Hearts, is the reward for the week.
Hmm.
So that makes sense because the Ace of Clubs wanting to know and keep knowing and keep knowing, for the Jack of Hearts to be the reward. That is the reward for a card or an energy that wants to keep digging and keep learning. To be told that, hey, your reward's having a class soon.
She just blessed Nick. That is the blessing. She
Right.
just blessed Nick. That's the.
And I did it so like impulsively. I have been talking about it. I have been asked, "Hey, when are you going to teach it again?" So just this week, it's kind of how it even started the first time I did it. I was just sitting here and boom, it comes to you, and you're like, "All right, I'm doing this."
That's
And
spiritual information, knowledge, wisdom, and that's being of service.
yeah,
I was just speaking to Ace of Clubs, like I said, just like the other day, and I was talking about that reward of the Jack of Hearts. I was just doing a yearly, but I don't know what it, because you always got it right because it's fixed. So I don't know if everyone knows this, but so the Ace of Clubs goes to the Two of Hearts, from one year to another. So you have the light spread. Um, really good that I got this back, so we can give y'all a visual. Now we're giving away a lot. We're doing a lot here.
is this back on the site or you have this?
No, this is on me personally.
Okay.
So now you see it is here in Neptune, Venus. You know, and it's a certain way that you can word it as well. And this is why I said this isn't an astrology key. This is like a year to year, day to day, hour by hour. Nick He is the investigator. He had me break down the cards to the hour. He was like, "How does this work?" So that is the curiosity of the Ace of Clubs, and also going into Neptune. The imagination is expanded, and it's already is there's an expansion of imagination and creativity because of the Queen of Clubs and Mercury as well. So this is their light spread, and this is the weekly the energy of the week of what can come up. Go ahead, Gene.
No, I'm counting. Don't mind me.
Yeah, Nick, was there anything you want to say?
No, I'm listening. I mean, what you're saying, I'm learning. Self awareness, right? So I'm learning as you're talking, not just about me, but just when other people have this energy in their spread, they're very confused, which
Mhm.
would make sense. So to know what the energy is saying, and I found that it has a lot to do about relationships, which is very tricky, right? So no, everything that you're saying, just you breaking down that Venus and Neptune placement, um, and seeing where it goes. That's I'm learning. So no,
And you know what's interesting?
Cool.
The three of the four aces, because I know the Ace of Hearts, I think transforms into a seven. Yeah, one, two, three. Yeah. So three of the four aces transform into twos. Ace of Spades transforms to two of Diamonds, Ace of Clubs to the Two of Hearts, which is interesting because it just flip flops with that energy anyway. So it does really is here to learn about itself. And it's funny too that here we are at the very end of the Ace of Clubs week, and we've been dealing with in between this eclipse energy that has to do with Aries, the self, and Libra, the partnerships, right? The others. So as you see, it always aligns. And the
Say
moon
that
with it,
again. I'm sorry. You said
how this week in this week specifically being an Ace of Clubs week, and we're on the brink of the eclipse, right? That is tomorrow. That starts in a Two of Clubs week, and let's just go back. How three, what? Three of the aces transform into twos. So you see, and we're right now in the ace or the Aries and Libra axis of the nodes of the moon, which goes
okay.
from self to partners. So it's just interesting how it lines up, um, even in the weekly, based on the energy, cosmically as well.
Yeah, especially about that. Everything that's taking place is about relationships, business
Mhm.
relationships, contracts, sexual contracts, um, partnerships. I think all goes into that the one and the seven as well. So the agreements that you have, and really, I wouldn't say having to be with yourself, but also understanding who you are. And your self identity and so yeah, so there can be divisions and splits, and even looking at the Ace of Clubs and the Two of Hearts, there can be some things there as far as like relationships, partnerships, business, most definitely how you do business with people, also love and relationships and admiration, so it has the Two of Hearts. So there's a deep compassion for people, but it doesn't supposed to mix like business and pleasure, which you can kind of see that maybe in the Ten of Spades and the um, and Venus, the Queen of Hearts, Ten of Spades there as well.
Yeah, it's interesting how the ace energy is very much about the new beginnings and you know um new opportunity, but really is about having that confidence in self, but then also being able to take that and be able to connect with others. So Nick, what would be what's your view on relationships as an ace that flip-flops to it's shit every other day?
it's crazy because I feel like I want to hold on to the relationships,
Mhm.
and it's weird because when you go to the Two of Hearts energy, which is Venus Neptune, I want to do that. I want to do the partnership thing, but it's also a challenge to do that, because the thing about being an ace, there's all this internal stuff that you have to do, thinking, getting downloads. And when there's just two around, they want to talk a lot, they want to distract. Hey, look over there, do you see that turtle? Look at that turtle, man, do you see that turtle? And while you're meditating, or while you are visualizing the partner, the two that you do love, is distracting you. And so for me, I didn't grow up with siblings. I was the only child. So I've never had that experience where someone is distracting what I'm trying to do. So now that I'm an adult and I have to, like you said, have business partnerships and relationships with coworkers and two with people, it's very, very, very hard for me to do that. So, um, the self awareness part is the part that realizes, dude, this is difficult for you to do, which means you don't do it well. And I love relationships. I love intimate though. I want, like Rashad said, me and Rashad sat in the car in California, and he broke that down to me in the car. You know what I'm saying? We were very, very close. It's very intimate. I don't really want to do things that's not intimate. So everybody doesn't really appreciate the intimacy of a bond. They haven't really seen a person cherish a bond, an intimate bond where you don't have to have on a mask. You can take off the mask. And it's just like it doesn't exist. I feel like it just does not exist like that, where you can, because people change, they go to a different house, right, knowing this system has helped. They go to a completely different house, and I feel betrayed. But
Hmm.
I can't feel betrayed. Their energy has shifted, and mine has still, it's just the same old energy for 36 years. It's not really doing anything differently, but theirs is. So knowing that I can't have fear going forward into the next relationship. I can't, because that's just the energy. It moves. Five of Spades is the Pluto card. Things are going to change. Five of Clubs is Mars. Things are going to change. So it's just looking at those two placements and seeing how that's the issue for me in relationships. It's the fact that they change and I don't. So everything that you love that I'm doing, I keep doing it because I don't have a choice. But you don't keep doing the things that I love. So there's the issue in the relationship. I'm ending it. It's over.
Would you say when you're on the two side of it, there's essences of trying to control someone else?
Yes, definitely. I definitely trying to control.
Control the situation, because now,
Absolutely.
yeah, I've been learning that with the twos. I've come to that more realization just recently, that there is an essence of needing to, and I think that's because you don't, there's the lack of control of self, right? Or just having that not knowing of self. And usually when we're trying to control something or someone, there's fear. It's based in fear, because you see twos have that codependency and that fear of abandonment or being alone. But at the same time, that's where that ace comes in, is like knowing, feeling secure in who you are without, and then being able to let go of control. Because what you cannot do is control what someone does or doesn't do. All you can control is what you do or how you respond. So I've been learning that too.
And
You
there's a
know,
fear of the future and not having control. Not even like not having control over the future because it transforms into the eight of
Right.
spades, right?
And so,
You
and
know,
even we know the eights can be a very intense energy too. So go ahead. Sorry.
yeah, no, yeah. Like you said, the eight can have, but I think the eight also has the king of clubs and as a challenge as well. So
Well, and the
yeah,
two
having
of hearts
control.
has the two kings as its first two cards too. And those can be very much about control.
Oh yeah, I was going to ask Nick about because if you look at it from Venus and Neptune, so you think of like more reserved, being able to have partnership or communicate with people, but it start off and could be maybe has a sense of laziness, comfort, but also I think it's best that it has a King of Hearts and that Mercury and that Venus or being in the Mars, so it can have the ability to get up and actually take action and speak for yourself and communicate, but it also has the Queen of Clubs there as well. But yeah, what I was saying was just having power and control over the future, making sure you have control over your destination or where you're going, I think is kind of important because they also are business savvy as well. I wouldn't say should have their own business, but also as far as like partners and relationship changes, and there's a lot of changes within yourself as well. Having to have someone that's 100% in and not being satisfied with the relationship because you need maybe something change, maybe not them changing, but as far as like self development or improvement or change of location, traveling, you may even require a lot of someone, and have to have someone, I guess, on the same page with you as well, possibly. But also, you denied, I wouldn't say denied, but if you look at the two of diamonds and Saturn as well, you have to have like an unorthodox type of look as far as like relationships and people as well. So
What do you
things may
mean?
not.
What do you mean? Can you explain that with that two of diamonds? When you say
Yeah, so
unorthodox, what do you mean?
So you're looking at relationships and partnerships and the way that you do deals or contracts. You could be possibly stubborn, or maybe the way that you do certain things. It also has an ace of diamonds there as well. So you may hold people to a certain type of accountability, and I'm going to say one sided, but you may be stronger as far as your opinion or the way that you do things.
Yeah,
And you're
Uh,
trying to control. There's there it is again. There's that needing to control. And then two in Saturn means majority of your relationships are going to be some type of karmic. Relationships are your work. Relationships are your karma. Relationships are your where you have to probably exert more energy than anywhere else, or more discipline, more structure. Think of Saturn, right? What is Saturn asking you to do? Be disciplined, be structured, be have there's that development of I don't say, but there's control though. So you see that there's that tug and pull, and with the ace being there again, that ace knowing who you are, your own values, you can't, again, put your value or worth in someone else's hands, because then now it's not even just about controlling them. You may allow others to control you on the other side of that too, because you give too much, not standing in your power, or who you are.
and I'm not willing to compromise. I think
Yeah,
it's
because that's yeah, the other side of
not
that.
willing to compromise. What's going on, Madeline? How you doing?
Hey everybody. Look at
Morning.
that. We got space. I'm excited. Hi, good morning. Good morning.
good morning.
I heard, hi Nick. I only came in towards the end there. So I know that Gina's preaching, but I hear what she's saying about how it's got to be you. You got to make sure, like my big game these days, and I think the Ace of Clubs is a fair place to bring it, is you have to be able to lead your ship. Like you have to be able to not make excuses for it. You have to know it and take care of it and make boundaries for it. Like it's your house, it's your ship, it's your temple.
You're the
And by
captain of it,
mean that
you
you
know.
don't share well. It means
Hmm.
you still share, but you share from sovereignty, you share from clarity, so that it's not sticky and annoying. But I'm done. That's about what I was thinking. But I was thinking that before we got on.
Let me
So
see.
what are you been talking about?
So no, yeah, we was talking about the as far as agreements, partnerships. So the way that they do agreements and partnerships, and they have to communicate with people as well. Um, and the way that you communicate is very important. And sometimes when you do deals or relationships, you have to compromise. Sometimes, it can't be really fixed in who you are and what you want. It has the six of clubs, ace of diamonds. Um, that kind of challenges it as well. With the six of clubs that lives already kind of Saturn and Neptune. So they can kind of be kind of like kind of dreamy. I think I'd say lazy. A lot of people would say the six of clubs is lazy, but
They're
a lot
slow.
of
They're slow.
but they can also, I think that also can be maybe self-critical as well. So I think it brings a lot of like self-awareness to have a king of spades there as well. But just
Self-critical
like,
definitely makes you slow, right? Like when you're criticizing yourself, that's definitely one of the main things that kind of makes you sluggish, right? You're like trying to figure out how fucked up
What
are you?
move? Yeah. Or what to do, what move if you're
What to do,
constantly.
or if you have
Yeah.
insecurities, depending, but you know what I mean? Like you have to be able to really move from that knowing that you're good.
Yeah. Yep.
Mhm.
So I can say I trust Six of Clubs. I find Seven of Clubs harder to enjoy. Six of Clubs, it is a slow game, but
That's funny. It's funny.
so just the
I've
way their
actually,
mind works, Like, you know, I
yeah,
have a
because
lot of
it goes like
clubs.
this. Whooshoo, whooshoo.
Yeah, like I have a lot of
Like,
clubs in
which
my
side of the
practice.
road are we on today?
Yeah, yeah, exactly. And once they're there, they're as strong as they were in the other place, and there's hard
Yes.
sometimes to convince them different because they're
Yeah.
there.
Yes. Yeah. That
So
Seven
the
of Clubs
reason,
is that's a fun one.
and let me just kind of remind you, the reason that we kind of got on that, because we're talking about contracts and relationships, um, for the Ace of Clubs, because they go back and forth between the Neptune and the Mercury, Mercury Venus and Venus Neptune. So they have the two of diamonds. They have to work with the two of diamonds. Nick always looks at both spreads. So you have the two of diamonds that sits Saturn. So that's why I mentioned it, because they also have the two of hearts that challenges them, and that supports them. So whenever you're looking at the Ace of Clubs and relationships and partnerships, you really have to look at also the two of hearts, because that's where a lot of the emotions is coming from as well. Also the Jack of Hearts,
Hmm.
um, and all of other hearts that's supporting or challenging the first row with the and Mercury. So we always talked about it. Last week I talked about how Mercury and is dealing with the all like relationships, like your mind, and your heart. So the hearts transforms into the clubs. So even here you can see the Ace of Hearts and the Two of Hearts, are connected. So whenever you're speaking about the Two of Hearts, you have to speak about the Two of Diamonds. So when you're analyzing the Two of Diamonds, you gotta look at the Six of Clubs and the Ace of Diamonds, you know, and this is deals, partnerships, compromise. You know, we'll just kind of make sure we kind of run it off, kind of keep people updated in that laws. Um, as far as like the Ace of Clubs, because Nick was saying like relationships are very important, for him. But whenever he's in a relationship, it's about the other person sometimes don't meet his expectations. I wouldn't say don't meet your expectations, but some things may change. Things get lost in a relationship. And he was talking about meditation. That's very much so Venus. I think Neptune. I think that's like meditation. That's another reason I kind of mentioned as well, because that's like when you're meditating. When you're off in your own, there's self-awareness, but there's a challenge as far as like relationships. Something's being denied with that Two of Diamonds in relationships, or maybe expectations, that you have within the agreements, or compromise, or promises that was in the relationship, or being upset about the relationship. Also, I was going to talk about the Five of Clubs. There's restlessness here as well with the Five of Clubs. So there's maybe a need also for change for yourself. I think, if I see that you have a Five of Spades and Five of Clubs, and the Ace of Clubs for me is super hyperness, like Gina was saying. Like you can be everywhere, it can be a lack of focus and concentration with that.
But I think too with the fives, there's because we know the five energy is constant change, and even like there's an insatiable desire to know more, to ask questions, to dig deeper with that energy. The Five of Clubs is a very fascinating card, and they have it in Mars, so there is this they are very driven to uncover. Like the first answer you give an Ace of Clubs is not enough. They're gonna take that and they're gonna spin it. Because that's what the Five of Clubs does. They're gonna spin it around and pick apart this and then ask the questions based on what they've dissected from the first answer you gave them. And then that might not be enough. They're gonna keep looking. I'm right,
Not,
right?
not
Right.
satisfied.
And so there's this constant, but so, and it's interesting because they have the sevens connected to them as well. So there is that, you know, and I've noticed with a lot of the aces, because I raised two of them, there isn't a lot of staying in the moment, staying in the present. It's always on to the next. What's next? What's next? What's next? What's next? What's next? So where I'm like, we can't just chill right here because I don't move. I'm very stuck. So there's this like, why can't we just enjoy this moment? But it's always like, what's next? What's next? What's next? So those fives, right? And you know, they're a big. You'll see too that in spreads, aces and fives are typically always together because if they represent something new, then that five has to be there because it's what brings in that shift, that change, to see something new, to even look at something new, you know. So they have to be, they're very connected.
Mm-hmm. And the five of space and Pluto, I think,
Mm-hmm.
is travel as well. I think, I don't know, maybe you spoke about it one day. I know we spoke, I don't know which video. Um, but you were somehow she just had to leave or just had to go and was like begging you to go somewhere or travel or something like that. I was speaking about the five of spades a little bit as well. And so that can be earthquakes. It was an earthquake this week. Oh, that's
That's
crazy. I just
true.
thought about that.
There was a few. Shoot. And
That's
and I'm gonna tell you, every time, remember, I've been following fives for a minute, and every time there's heavy five, even when there's a 10, you'll see it in the same, you know, because tens have fives connected to them too. So it's not just the five individually. They're, you know, the aces have the fives, the ace of spades has it too. So both of those cards. So you'll see that show up a lot.
Yeah, I
And
saw that. I saw that the earthquake things and thinking about the five of spades. You know, I look at the weekly plates. I keep up with them just to learn. and the five of spades this week is in trans Pluto, so that's even more crazy. It's the Pluto card to the week, and it's sitting in trans Pluto.
wow. For the United States, Nick.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Wow. Wow, that's crazy. Yeah, so I mean, you want to talk about predicting shit. that's
Right.
what that's one way to do it. And then having that five of spades in Pluto, um, I think too, there is this element of having confidence in the change, trusting in the change, because Pluto, we tend to resist the things, right? We tend it seems to be more challenging. So yes, and it's, you also see too a lot of times in spreads, and not just in the life spreads, in weekly spreads, sometimes even in the yearly spreads, your Pluto card and your Mars card will be the same number, different suits. So you see how that also intertwines, with just the weeklies and stuff like that. And so and Mars and Pluto can be, you know, very similar energies, but Pluto tends to bring up more. Where Mars, we will, you know, we're more ambition, but Pluto kind of like it instills a lot of stuff that we resist or that we're afraid of. So there's still this essence of having that five in Pluto that you know, there can be fear of change, fear of things going a different direction, yet that's a big part of your transformation, is to not be afraid of the change, to not resist it, to allow it to happen. Because ideally, that, what do you, oh yeah, the Jack of Hearts, you got to know that that it's leading you to your higher purpose, right? With the five of spades being in Pluto, and and the reward being the Jack of Hearts, that the shifts and the change are actually leading you to more of a spiritual, probably initiation, a loving, you know, others without the conditions, and or not even just without the conditions, but
sacrifice.
just loving, huh?
I want to say sacrifice, you
Right.
know.
But know that the
So
change was to bring you to more of exactly, if that's a fixed card, right? So the changes are leading you to exactly where you're supposed to be. You just have to have faith. You have to trust in that. But I find fives in Pluto, we tend to resist it. We don't, maybe there's just something that we're afraid of, something that is, you know, causing us this fear of change. When if we could just let go of that, realizing that everything will bring you to exactly where you need to be.
Yeah, I
yeah,
would say live. I'm sorry.
no, go ahead.
I would say like, you know, I match that spread, that the United States spread. So I always love when Nick talks because it's always fun for me to imagine what that means in life, right? And what I would say about that five energy is that they also kind of feel like they know sometimes, right? Like they can be opinionated, like they know what they feel is right. When you're in a five of spades, like you don't know because you can't imagine. So there is a faith piece there, right? There's a let
Mhm.
go and grow piece there. No, like the fives and nines and sevens, it's always a let go and grow, yeah. But there's definitely something about letting go of all of your ideas, because the thing is you play with what you learned as your four become your five, but for that six, when you go in and you integrate it, you really just don't know what's going to actually come up, because I've certainly have learned in my years that we can straight up lie to ourselves. Like we can think a whole bunch of stuff is true that's not true. I've done it.
Yeah.
Right.
All the,
Story of my
Let's not make
life.
believe that's not real.
Living in
the
Delulu land.
all the fives have the nines and Mars as well. So, or most of them have
Yeah.
like a nine and Mars as well. So, yeah, there is a, like you said, let go and grow concept that comes with the five and the nines a lot of times as well. And
And
like
it
you
is,
said,
and it's having faith in that redirection. That's because that's what changed. There's a shift, and we a lot of times, like she's saying, like you're saying, that we're like, no, will
Like
not.
everything can change, but not this part.
Right.
It's like now you're screwed, right? Now you're not even paying attention because you're doing a lot to make sure that part don't change, right?
Mm-hmm.
and that can be where the control and the power comes for the
Mm-hmm.
two of hearts. Well, not really. I guess the two of hearts can get a little played because it goes there Pluto as well. But that ace of clubs and the two of hearts, share the two. The ace of clubs share the two of hearts, but it transforms into the ace of spades. So that's the power and control. But also the ace of clubs gets a lot of its power and control. Maybe I mean, yeah, the ace of clubs also gets some power and control when it transform or go into the Neptune. It has the eight of clubs and Neptune as well. So that can be a lot of fixation, control, that
Yes,
comes from
that's
that.
very true. I wanted to say real quick, that's very true because the Jack of Hearts is gone. And that's one of the reasons why I do prefer that life path, because the Jack of Hearts is behind me. So I notice that I'm not using those
What?
cards at all. I'm not
Oh my god.
sacrificing. I'm not dealing with none of that. I'm like, it's like, no, no. And I'm not
I'm
confused with my
so hurt.
intuition. I'm not confused with my intuition with the Three of Hearts and Mercury with the Queen of Clubs. It's like a better life path over there with the Two of Hearts. It is. It's better. Now I love Gina. I need Gina, but I don't need the Jack of Hearts. It's a difference. It's a difference.
He
Why?
said,
Don't
Why,
take it
Nick?
personal.
No, wait. I need to know why. Why? Break it down. What's wrong with the Jack of Hearts?
Well, for me specifically, I noticed that with the Jack of Hearts life path, because I just got on my 7 year plate and now I'm displacing the Two of Hearts. And man, when I tell you the difference in my relationships, Rashad just said the word sacrifice a few minutes ago. That
Mm-hmm.
completely goes out the window when I'm displacing the Two of Hearts. It's not happening.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So my relationships where people were used to me sacrificing all the time,
Mm-hmm.
used to me coming back, used to me, dealing with the BS that I really didn't want to deal with. I don't do it no more.
Mm-hmm.
yeah,
We'll
that's
never talk
crazy.
again.
But just someone's about to say something.
Oh no, I
Oh,
just
okay.
cheered. I was just happy for his freedom.
Oh, okay.
Thank you.
Yeah. It's freedom, right? That's the fives, right? Freedom. I was just, man. Now to think about it, man, I have had the craziest week. I have, and it has all, and
Rashad landing from the week.
yeah, no, and it just has dealt with um people not wanting to sacrifice and being fixed in what they want to do and things they want to do, and having this behavior which people kind of call it what is it? I forgot the exact definition, but just the obstruction of from having any type of authority over you, so just not listening or paying attention to someone and just really wrecking just everything around them, just total annihilation of everything that's in front of them just because they wanted to do and have certain things a certain type of way. So it's just funny you say that because they just sought freedom just so bad, and they just had to leave the scenario, the place, wherever they were, just to get to a better mental state. So yeah, that's just what I was thinking about. It was just kind of because I can't really tell the details of everything, but yeah, it was just kind of the energy, like it was the earthquake, and just to think about when did the earthquake happen? When was that? Was that Thursday?
I think it was
Yeah, I
on
think
what day was Thursday?
Friday, Thursday or Friday.
Well, their third was Wednesday was a 5 of spades day. So was it on the 5 of spades or a 4 of spades day? I don't remember.
April, dude. That's when that was a lot. What's that? That's a lot always,
Let me
right?
go. I'll see if I can find it.
The fifth. Okay. So my event happened actually on the fifth. Yeah, the same around 3 p.m. That's crazy. Around the same time. So yeah, I don't know. It's just something that I'm not always into, cosmic events and things happening, but this is why I'm here. This is this is definitely why I'm here. As far as natural disasters and those things, but because there's a similarity, right? The Ace of Clubs week, the Five of Spades week, so there's definitely change, and I don't know as far as like business and those things as well. And what do you think about the Five of Spades, Five of Clubs, Three of Diamonds, and the relationship that it has with those cards, as far as the like business and the change that takes place, as far as the Five of Clubs, and finances that kind of happens and kind of takes place? Because I also kind of seen that this week as well. Speaking and talking to an Ace of Spades. Well, three is Ace of Spades. No, Ace of Clubs. I kind of seen the Three of Diamonds, and the Ace of Spades as far as like, and then you got Trump coming up as well, and Diddy coming up. So financial, I won't say disappointment, but changing the occupation, the way that you do business, the way that you relate certain things, or the way you may sell certain things, maybe you need a new idea or a new opinion, you know, going out to buying new material possibly as well, right? So it's an upgrade or change happening or taking place that you may not foresee or you may not be ready with, or starting over, I think. Did I lose y'all? I'm sorry.
No, I'm here.
Yeah, I'm agreeing with you. I'm just thinking about the question. I definitely will say with the Three of Diamonds, having that in Jupiter, that is exactly why it has taught me to have multiple streams of income because of the change with the fives.
Mhm.
And then you think of the Five of Clubs being the Mars card, something has changed that you are passionate about, making money 9 times out of 10. And then what's the next card? The Three of Diamonds. So now you have insecurities about the change. You know what I'm saying? So it really, really shows you how now you're looking to do something new with the Ace of Spades being the next card. So but you can't let go of what you have always been doing because of the passion with the Five of Clubs. It's very, very needed. People really, really want it. They'll come back, but maybe their finances changed. Maybe COVID came and their money went away, or whatever the case may be. Things do change. So it really, really shows you how that when you look at the life path, you look at the Three of Diamonds, the Five of Clubs, the Ace of Spades, all those cards, you really see how when it comes to business and entrepreneurship, that energy has to have a lot going on. Like all the energy that you just said that energy has, it's really so that they could have so many things going on. When I look at Kim Kardashian, she has Skims, she has the show, she has so many different ways to make money. Why? Because the show doesn't air all the time. How are you making money then? You know what I'm saying? You got to sell clothes. Okay, so it's like they have to keep working. There's money has to keep flowing consistently.
They have to keep creating, because that's the essence of those threes. Because if you look, the Three of Hearts is supporting you. Nick, do you know your natal chart? Do you have the Moon and Jupiter together by any chance?
I don't know. I just know it's a Scorpio moon, but I don't know if it's. I don't know.
Where's your Jupiter?
It's in I think Sagittarius. I'm double checking right now.
But it's just you would see that with the moon and Jupiter like being they're the same.
Aries. It's in Aries.
Interesting. Um, there's a lot of like your creativity is how you will be successful. You know, create like you said, creating different streams of income, but and so because we know those threes can either turn into stress and worry, or they just need an outlet because you do again have a lot of ideas because the Ace of Clubs represents new beginnings, new ideas, new thoughts, new ways of communicating. So managing all that and again being able to take all those things and experiment and create this and then create this and then create this, right? And like you said, and it is about being a balance because it's like a juggling act, right? And being able to juggle all this stuff at the same time, but knowing that, you know, in that creative expression is not allowing yourself to question it, you know, and doubt it and or go back and be like, should I do this? Because again, if you like you said, if you're creating multiple ways, it won't matter if this is, you know what I mean, like because you're that one you can move on to
Right.
the next one, right? So but
And
it's
I
probably
think I
Mhm.
think that's good for everybody what you just said, Gina, because we
Mhm.
have these ideas, we create something that we're passionate about that is going to generate income, but what about all the other things that we also can create that can make us some money while that thing is doing whatever it's doing, while we're still creating, while that thing has not come into fruition yet? We still have to have those other things that we are creative about that can still bring us the money so that we don't have the stress with the threes. Because a lot of times
Mhm.
with the three of diamonds, you're stressing about how to make some money because you're feeling like you're low on, like you don't have enough. So
Mhm.
when you go, the six of hearts is saying there's something that you can go back to. To
Mhm.
me, I always look at that like there's something that you're going to have to go back to.
That's funny you say. Yeah, that's actually exactly what I said yesterday. Like I said, I talked to Ace of Spades, Ace of Clubs this week, right? And that's kind of what we kind of spoke about was just the spread because there was in that Mercury row, right? So when you're looking at the Queen of Diamonds, or let's just go to any random spread because it changes, so it looks a little different. So you have the Six of Hearts and not the Queen of Diamonds anymore. You have the Three of Diamonds. So now the house that you're in is actually going to support you. So that's kind of if anyone's looking at a light spread or an age plate or a spread, the house that you in is going to support you. So here the Three of Diamonds is supporting that relationship with the Six of Hearts. So you're looking at old relationships, old talents, connections, people you work with. So I think that when you're looking at the Ace of Clubs, you're looking at someone that always wants to keep a good rapport and keep a good relationship with people and contacts. And that's why they build communities and those things. Kind of like you said, Kim has a relationship, she has a business, another business that's already thriving. She's always going to make money from that. Now she can have another business on the makeup. Her daughter, who is what is her daughter?
Jack of Spades.
I know Nick. Yeah, the Jack of Spades. I was like, what is their relationship? So if you look at it here, she's Uranus. Well, you can't see it here, but on the light spread, the Two of Hearts is Uranus for that card, which you can see. Uranus can cause um, separation or just something happening within, like, I wouldn't say trauma, but something kind of like a parent that really can't control the situation or control what the child is doing. And may go rail against the authority of the adults. With that Uranus type of relationship. So that's kind of what you see because she sits in the Two of Hearts place, so that's the Jack of Spades and the Two of Hearts kind of relationship. Yeah. But what was the talking about? I'm sorry.
The threes and the Ace of Clubs spread and how, you know, just getting creative and being able to kind of not let it turn into stress because that's the other side of it is it can be very stressful too. And I think because when you look at their spread, they have threes, fives, nines, sevens. That can be challenging. um but at the same time, like their essence is of uh, initiating things, and they bring something new. So to have something new, you have to be able to let go of other stuff, things that don't serve you anymore or don't aren't meant to come on to the new journey. And I think that's a big part of just life in itself, and the growth that happens when we are able to see that this doesn't have value for us anymore. But a lot of times, if we don't see our self value, we'll hold on to it out of fear, and because we don't. And that's a big part of the ace energy, is valuing yourself, valuing your intuition, valuing your knowledge, your mind, your thoughts, your beliefs, your emotions, your feelings, everything, your health, who you are. But if you don't have that, you allow. That's where the because sometimes with the threes, and it's interesting that the three of hearts is behind the ace of clubs. Threes tend to look outside of themselves, right? They tend to look and not have that strong sense of it comes from within. And it's interesting how the ace of clubs has that supporting it. And I think when the ace of clubs, stands on their square and knows who they are and trusts this more than anything, that's when they really can use those threes to the highest. And like Nick says, they can be extremely, successful. They can have multiple streams of income, and I don't follow Kim Kardashian per se, but you can tell she isn't dumb. She trusts, she's doing very well for herself. So she trusts, her abilities, and she trusts, and look at, even, I think, I remember when the last time I ever paid attention to her, wasn't she becoming a lawyer or something, or fighting for people? So she took something, and maybe there was a thought that came up and she rode that bitch.
The language, I don't know. I don't know if they'll tag us for that, but but no, I'm saying. But yeah, through diamonds and the queen of clubs, the multiple streams of income. I think, like you said, having value and creating value. The ace of clubs is around information, knowledge. So you can very much see the queen of clubs. I think a lot of times I relate to court as well, So I want to say they're judgmental, but having or needing some people around you that have some type of information and knowledge that you can gain from, having intellectual or people of a high degree around you that can communicate well. So the Ace of Clubs values communication. Like if you can't text them, you can't communicate with them. I'm surprised Nick is still my friend because I am a horrible communicator.
You are. You are.
I do not text back
You are.
fast. I know because I just been busy. This is crazy. Like I get off work and go to work and come home. So I'm like extremely busy, but they need somebody they can communicate with, right?
I have to beg Rashard to talk to me. That's how it feels. Really, it does. So that's
Nah,
how
it's
I'm
not like
growing.
that.
I'm growing because I'm getting over my feelings. Like it's not personal, dude. Get over it.
That's so true, Nick. Nick, I got a question for you. So, based on all the things that we've been saying, it's so much about being able to discern. And I hear you, Gina, when you say it's here in our head. But I'm going to stay where it's got to be where the heart and head are working together, where you're
Right.
listening from your heart, but you're using your attunement, your clarity, your sharp mind to make moves, like a chess game. But it's got to come from your heart, as far as I'm concerned. And it's negotiations now, right? Because that's the skill set, the trigger city that comes when you try to talk to people. Like triggers are opportunities. Triggers are ways to learn about what's still up your butt. You know what I mean? Like, so negotiations. My question is, now that you're in this different frequency with the shift in the 7 years, the negotiation skills, like how do you find that developing, and what's your sense of how important negotiation skills are right now?
It's so crazy because negotiate. When you say negotiating skills, what do you specifically mean by that?
Finding the middle, right? Like finding the space where I got a passion, you got a passion, she got a passion, he got a passion, and the people can listen to each other to find the win-wins, right? Because you're all the same team. Like sometimes as an ace, you forget you're on the same team. You just come with an independent energy, but you're still on the same team. right?
Oh
And I
yeah,
know that's
that's
my
good.
brain, but I just mean when you're negotiating with your team. I know you don't want to say the whole world's our team. Whatever everybody wants to tolerate, that's their stuff. I'm on the same team. But when I'm saying, okay, I got 4 people here, we're all on the same team, and we all want something or have things to bring. So the negotiation of that classroom, that to me is where you get to the next frequency, because there's a win-win. Like there's a reason the energies are together. It's not to fight, but if anybody gets triggered, well, that's the classroom. You say thank you, you take your hit, you clean it up, and you come back.
Mm-hmm.
I had to do that lots and lots of times. Jesus Christ.
Mm-hmm. It's so interesting that you say that, because when I think of the two of diamonds being Saturn and the six of clubs being the challenge, I know that's what Rashad was just talking about a few minutes ago, and that's exactly what that is. It's me partnering with someone. I have a goal, they have a goal, or I have a vision and they have a vision, and we're trying to make this thing come together. But the challenge for me is the six of clubs, and because the six of clubs is the challenge, I don't really have time for that. And I need to make time, because that's what Saturn's wanting me to do. Is the partners may be a little slower than me.
And
They
that's
you
the
know
gift. That's the gift, that they're different than you.
Right, exactly. So for me though, it's trying to find the patience, because I just naturally do not have time for that, because I already, when you're clear, that's why it's Saturn. That's why the two of diamonds is Saturn, because when you are clear on what you want to do, all you really need is the team that can do what you need them to do. You know what I'm saying? And when you're getting with other people and they don't even know what they want to do yet, and they're not sure, that messes up my speed and my process of my goals. So the thing about
Well,
that
is
is,
there an instant gratification part? Like, is there a way, like when you say you're not patient, is it like an instant gratification? Like jokingly, like even when you were with Rashad, like usually, I mean, I bet people want to pick up your phone call. So the fact that Rashad doesn't, it's kind of like, what the heck? I got to beg to talk to this guy. So
mhm.
it's like we don't get the instant gratification. Do you think that there's something about that when because I find that my passion creates impulses that sometimes go faster than the cards.
For sure.
Like my
Yeah.
mind can go faster than the whole house.
Yes, definitely. That's me. Yeah, it's like Adderall. It's like on being on speed. My mind is. I told Rashad this when I was little. I always had to be on something. They made me when I was in school, I had to take pills and stuff for not being able to sit down and concentrate and do what everybody else was doing. Couldn't get along with everybody else. I always had to get up, go to the bathroom. It was like Adderall speed. So my mind is like that. So when I'm partnering with this person, and honestly, Groisha, partnering with someone is, and this is just my opinion, I'm helping them. If I partner with them, they're helping me too, but I'm helping them because I really don't have to partner with a person. I just need a team. You know what I'm saying? Like having a salon, I need a team, and that's partnering. But when I'm partnering with, they just need to, I tell them what to do. It's a lot of delegation going on, and it works well. We have meetings. It's great. But when you are the leader and another person is the leader, you got leaders trying to come together and make it work. It does not, I have not had good experience with that because it's two leaders. It's like, just imagine me and Diamond trying to get together. That's like, it's too hard. So it's like, why do that when I don't necessarily need her to do this. I can build this on my own and get a team and build with the team. The team is not Diamond. It's not another leader. I don't want to
Well, you
build
see,
with leaders.
well, I'm saying that yes, 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 yes. And in my work, circles touching circles, where I'm grooming women in circles of 8 to like co-create a frequency for some of the same stuff I was talking about, the shared prayer, what we all believe in, what we teach our families, like a new foundation kind of stuff. I find that there is a way that the energies do have an interplay and a struggle to share leadership. But when I come back to it, it's like, just be able to hear what I have to say and let me say what I need to say. And like, let's just keep speaking until it gets sweet again. Like, don't take the ride to the insult. There's no insult here. There might be ignorance, there might be immaturity, but I'm here for the same reason you're here. Right. So I think that shared leadership and that piece of like sovereignty I'm always on, there seems to be something about getting over our egos, right? Because the reason that it's hard to share leadership is like you have to be top dog. And what is happening to me right now as a character, which is comical based on what the stuff I'm saying, in the prayer altar that I received, The message is you have to be the leader. No one else can override you. You must be the grandmother of this dance. Like, you must make the final decisions. So to me, having that team and being informed by all of their experiences will help me make those decisions. But they're just as important as me, because I'm not on the floor where they are. I'm not in the kitchen where they are. I'm not at the gate where they are. Like, I need to really honor and trust them to tell me what's needed there. And then I need my intuition to discern and then make the decision. It's not like I'll decide for everybody based on the time that I did it 20 years ago. No, what is it like right now? What's happening for you at that gate? What's happening with that experience? Help us understand so we can all make a decision that matches what's real there. And I think the egos and the push in the brain, that more dominant energy, forgets to actually recognize that everybody brings a piece of the truth. You need everybody's, as many of the good people you can trust truth as you can to make a bigger picture, like what we do with each other. I've gotten more truthful, more clear in the reflection of you all here.
Yeah, that's the ace of spades, that power and control. The ace of spades is supposed to work around a group, a lot of other people, but having dominance over your opinion and what you say, when not having your idea heard, can maybe lead to that thirst for power or dominance within the relationship as well. Um, and I wouldn't say just having control over the group, but just having your voice heard in some type of way. There's also a certain word as well that leads to, as far as compromise, making compromise within a group, and maybe feeling like you let up the being the leader just to satisfy other people. No, I wouldn't say it's always just to satisfy with someone speaking. I wouldn't say it's just always to satisfy another person. But maybe it's just leadership is always knowing that it's not always your time to lead, as well. You don't always have to control it. It's not always your opinion within that has to be heard, or it has to be on a certain project, that has to be implemented. So, yeah, there's a certain power and control on just taking the back seat sometimes.
And I really do like to take the back seat, but I'm just going to be honest. Um, Taking the back seat, a lot of times people don't know. If you notice if you take the back seat when it's time to go eat, to pick a restaurant, do you notice that you won't eat? Nobody will pick
Just
a
so
place. Nobody knows what they
No,
want
I
to
hear
do.
you. That's true.
There's no leadership. So I'm just not that person that's going to be like, okay, well, let's see. I can't do that. I'm like, okay, so we're gonna go here. I'm doing the reservation. We'll be there at 9 o'clock. So it's the same thing with partnerships. If the partner don't know what they want to do, I'm not gonna sit there with them and be like, well,
Well,
I'm
wait a
not gonna
minute.
do
Hold on though.
that.
What about if it's kind of like, oh, okay, this is where we're in that decision making part. How do you guys want to do decisions? Do you want to rotate who picks each time? Like, let's make this transition, because those are the transitions that jam us up in Trigger City, right? Because if you have a way, like in my family, we had a way that we knew which game night, whose game was going to be picked. We didn't have the fight every time we had a game night. We had a system for the way game night was not going to start with a fight over what game we played. It's different people's turns. Everybody comes in. So there's ways to negotiate. How do we make these decisions? How do we do this? So that when that comes up, you do that thing and you go to the next part. So the personalities don't all get either jammed up or overpowering, because, oh, this is what we do. When it's time for lunch, we put them all in a hat. We decided that we we're going to pick out of the hat each time, so there'd be no stress, and we just go with everyone came out of the hat. And then that's the way you start to grow it different, because you make a way that it's not about, I have to do this now. It's like we have a way that we do this.
It's just very unfortunate being an ace, because you're forced to know what you want to do. You're forced to know where you want to eat. You're forced to know where you want to shop. You're forced to know everything about yourself. But nobody else, they don't know anything. They don't know about themselves. So it's just difficult to be that energy in a world of where people don't know the self. They do not know. So if you don't know yourself, you don't know nothing about this business. You don't know what color you want the sign to be. You don't know the name of the business. You don't know the type of clientele you want to attract. You don't know. That is frustrating. I'm not partnering with that. Now, someone else that can do that. I'm not doing that. The two of diamonds is my Saturn. I have to be very strategic about who I'm going to partner with. And I can't partner with you if you don't even know what you want to do. I can't do it. Because I'm going to take over. That's just natural. That's what I had to do as a little child. Take over. They don't know what they want to do. You do it. That's all I know. I don't get to move nowhere else and know something else. I just know if you don't know, this is what we're doing. Boom. That's the only thing Gina's child is going to be the same way. Watch. Because that's how she's forced to be. It's like you're forced to be that way when you are this energy. If they ain't doing it, I'm going to do it. Fuck it. Excuse me. I didn't mean to curse. Sorry.
Nick, it's
Nick
so
is-
great to hear your passion. I see Rashad wants to share, Gina wants to share, but I just love you and I love your passion and the way that you want to bring yourself. So let's see what Gina and Rashad say.
Well, I just wanted to know, Nick, where do you have Aries in your north node or south node?
It's my north node. Libra is the south and Aries is the north. Yeah.
That makes sense. That's all. You can hear it. and you're really, in a very powerful time because collectively the nodes are north node and south node, Aries and Libra. So you're having a nodule return. Yeah. So it's very powerful for you right now.
And the eclipse card tomorrow, the King of Diamonds. It's my Venus. It's the Venus for the Two of Hearts. I'm so passionate about everything about this card, like everything about this card, because it's my personal planet. It's Venus. I don't have no choice but to lean into this energy from the time I came out the womb. I was raised like this. So if I see someone else is not, I'm not tripping, love you to death, but my intuition is saying not them. Not them. This is not it. You need to wait a little longer. Your partner's not here yet. And I have to honor that.
Definitely.
No, I laughed. That was funny. The five contributes to restlessness, and it said like warlike. As soon as you said that, that was funny. But as far as the discontent, just for other people, like you said, the two of spades, the two of diamonds, the six of clubs, the dissatisfaction, having to have partnerships and relationships, also along with that, the five of clubs, so being adaptable, taking opinions of other people as long as they're knowledgeable, as long as they can communicate and you can respect them, So when I was kind of speaking about, letting go and not wanting to have complete control, and letting other people take control and taking the back seat, but it's only with people that are knowledgeable. People that you respect their opinion, because you can adapt. You can change. You can make changes and be able to respect other people' opinion. And like I said, look at the bright side of things a lot of time. So whenever you can do that, it's always with someone you respect. Because it's all about self growth and self development. But I was going to ask Gina as far as raising the ace, because it has like a queen of clubs. Raising the ace, well, two aces, right? You got two. So one is the reward, and then one is Jupiter, which are great places, So,
I say they may beg to differ.
Those are great places.
Listen, they chose me. It's their fault. No. It's interesting too, because I was just actually thinking, if you notice when I look up a lot of times, like something is coming to me, and I was just thinking, I know Nick's mom is a Jack. I'm a Jack. I know another lady who is a Jack, and her son is an Ace of Clubs. So there's something with that. Because you'll see a lot of the similarities with these cards that travel together. So I'm wondering, that the Jack and we know the Jacks can be very playful and almost a young energy. And I noticed that the Ace of Clubs can be a very young, I would also say sensitive energy. I noticed with her, my little one, she's more sensitive than I thought. But I allow her, like, she's really interesting. Yeah, she's very sensitive. Mm-hmm.
You said what you would think. Why you said that? The Queen of Clubs.
Well, I didn't. I just because compared to the older one, she's not as sensitive.
The reason I say it because you're right, because the Seven of Hearts. I don't know who's more sensitive, the Seven of Hearts or the Queen of Clubs. Both of them has talked to me. But the Queen of Clubs is in Mercury, so that's to me that's sensitivity. you know.
Well, and she's
Uh,
really fascinating with how she, like, I've been teaching her or paying attention to her when she says, I knew that, mom. That's what I saw in my brain, mom. That's what I thought that before it even happened. And I've been really like focusing on trust that. Like, that is your intuition. Like, I remember one time we were coming home and she said, Mom, there's going to be an envelope in the mailbox for me today. And I was like, what? She said, there's a card. I think it was around her birthday. And she knew that there was going to be a card in the mailbox. And sure as shit, when I got home, sorry, y'all, there was a card in the mailbox for her. And so I really do try to emphasize with that one to pay attention to that. Like, trust that. If I can teach you anything in this world, is to trust what you know, trust what you have that like strong sense of that, because it is with the Queen of Clubs is Mercury. It really is about your intuition. And there is this mothering energy about her. It's like she almost can sense when I may need a hug, or she almost can sense when I may need some time, or she can just sense when certain things are playing out, and she'll just randomly come up to me and give me a hug. And it's like, oh, so she very much has this sense of knowing. And so I've been very much mindful of guiding her with that and really helping her to trust that. Never doubt it, never question it, just allow it to be that internal guide for you. And you'll always see, and with her being young, as she grows, I think that will help her to just have that sense of trusting herself.
no, yeah, for sure. Actually, what I wrote down earlier was because it's Mercury, Queen of Clubs, imagination, the teacher, and reactive, and being able to visualize a problem. So being able to problem solve, and or manifestation. So kind of imagine a problem and imagine it out, and also manifestation. So yeah, that manifestation and intuition, I think, is very key, and trusting your intuition. I think that's also one thing with the Queen of Clubs, and like Nick says as well, like letting go and giving up something, and having the "I told you so" moment. Like, I knew it, and everything go wrong. It's like, no, I knew it, and you didn't listen to me. So I should have went with what I said, and everything would have been straight. But I'll let you take control of everything, and now we just got a shit show. Okay, all right. So it's respectful intelligence, of course, there. But it makes you a good advisor, though. It goes into
Mhm.
counseling for the Ace of Clubs, or as far as a people or a person,
Mhm.
being able to speech, and being able to talk to people, and have so as far as like negotiation and partnerships, I think they're good as long as they can take control or have some type of leadership in the group, because they do supposed to work with people and work around groups. Is one thing I know as an ace you want to run from, but you have the Queen of Clubs, you have the Ten of Spades, so there's a lot of success even throughout the week and this week, and the energy working or creating relationships and some type of groups, or being around people with some type of information, esoteric information and knowledge, where you can gain information, and because the power comes through the knowledge, right? The Ace of Clubs and Neptune. The power comes from the knowledge that you gain. And then you're able to go out and teach and communicate, and maybe manage a group or manage other people with the information. So not just say to put you in the box as far as like working with people and not having control, but that can be your control, though, right? It's owning your own business in some type of way. And not to say that all of them have to own their own business, but communicate and talk to people in some type of way.
I think that one of the things that is so smart that I know is always in the themes too is the knowing yourself, right? Because
Mhm.
there's ways you can just be accountable right up front about what you bring and don't bring. There's ways to understand, and not even cop out avoidant ways, just like knowing how you work. So I make vision boards, and yesterday Miles and I had a fire, and we let go of a bunch of stuff, and I did some spring cleaning. So I found a bunch of astrology stuff, and like this astrology stuff from like 2010, like when I first learned about myself and who I was, and writing it down, my own notes. Like, so I started to read about just the Cancer and stuff. And then I found out that even in my Kundalini yoga training in 2011, I learned I was a king of diamonds. I learned about the numbers, but like there was so much going on. But it did inform me, right? About how important it is to know yourself and understand yourself. So while we were burning the stuff, I started to read this thing about being a Cancer. And it was just like that, like one of those books of astrology kind of things. It was a printed out page, because that's how you got the information. And it was the back of the book with the numbers and the dates. Like it was not, technology. It was just somebody's words on the book. And one of the things they said, and I know I'm going a big circle, but I think it's to come to point that my character, or a Cancer, so I'm sure there's lots of Cancers out there, that a Cancer has like a wisdom to them, like a clarity to them, and people will come to them for counsel, but they won't necessarily tell them that they did what they said because they don't want them to think that they're controlling them. And I was like, oh, that's so crazy, right? So then my inadequacy stuff from my human design, this is all knowing myself, would of course mess with me, right? Because if people thought I was controlling them, I would feel really inadequate. Like that was never my intention. Like the soul that came with me had no intention in dominating anyone, right? But my energy would create that, and my wisdom would give people that like listen to me, but I wasn't looking for that. So I would literally feel inadequate and upset because I would see other people feel hurt or shut down around me because I was trying so hard to make peace. Nobody told me I had to do that. Nobody was telling, that was me who was trying to use her energy to create harmony, because right in the writings again, from whenever it was, all about harmony, themes and harmony. Like it almost made me laugh at myself thinking I'm such a unique character. And I'm like, look at this shit. I'm like classic Cancer. Look at this. I was laughing. I was like, wow. So all to say that knowing yourself and then how to use those energies. I'm not saying I'm locked in those boxes. I don't think any of us are in boxes per se, more than how do we use our strengths and our weaknesses to be someone that could be trusted, and mostly trusted by ourselves, so that the other people know, well, she's going to take care of what her, and she can be trusted, or he can be trusted. Let's listen. So those are my thoughts to what you said, because I think some of the things we are just kind of what we come with, and they're not necessarily anybody's fault. They're more like, how do I recognize how distracted I am by people arguing or tension, and how much I want to make it better? That's not because of them. That's because of me and some distortion in my character who thinks I have to be like that. I have to just trust them and do what I can. But I think there's ways that's what it's all about as you get older, is learning to accept and know the way you are, like who you are, why you are.
Facts.
Go ahead, Nick. But yeah, self-awareness, I think it's always key. So the Ace of Spades, Mercury, is Saturn for the Aces clubs. So knowing who you are within your group, within your relationships, and that self-discovery, like you said, even going back into the past and realizing, you are who you are, and you've always been this person, and trying to find out who you are, also being aware of how you come off to other people as well, to kind of harmonize the relationships, because that self-awareness, I think, is always key. I think there's growth and the way that you communicate, the way that you build relationships, not letting go of the way that other people may even feel. Is it self-awareness or self-projection? Are you projecting? Are people really feeling like this? Are they really getting these emotions? So communicating, I think, is always important as far as self-discovery, to even know how do you come off really, or how do they really take it, or is it all just mentally in your head? Because one thing about the Ace of Spades is in Mercury, Neptune. So there's a fantasy, or maybe even some type of, I won't say delusion, but just you creating an idea of who you want to be, and maybe not in a negative way, because I project myself all the time for my own benefit and the benefit of others too. It's not
Well, it goes to where you can lie to yourself, right? Because if you start to think about something a certain way and you keep thinking about it that way, and then you get someone else to believe it, it's growing a distortion that is part truth.
Right. No. So on this episode, sleep is for suckers. I wonder, can I share audio or video? On this one video, he talks to this girl, and she's telling him that she's a millionaire. Like he's like, "No, you're not, because you haven't done it yet." And she's like, "No, I am. That's how I speak it. Like you, like that's what I believe in. I believe in faith, God." She's a very religious person. I don't know if she's Christian, but she wants to be a personal or self development coach, and she talks about her faith and you speak who you are into existence. I am who I am now, and not who I am, you know, later. I am that person now. So you're not going to tell me I'm not that person, you know? So it's speaking to ourselves in the future, you know, and kind of like the seven of clubs, I think of like mantras, you know, of creating this idea and transforming the now, from what you may do now onto the future by step, right? So yeah, I think
Rashawn,
that's a little bit.
that's totally true. That's totally true. Like I got this idea like less than a week ago that I wanted to retire in Ireland, that I wanted to go to Ireland, right? That I saw myself ending my days in Ireland. It's one of my favorite places. And so I just started to really think about it. A couple big pieces came into things I could do that are still my work and the prayers and stuff like that. And I tell you, this week, 3 different people called me up and told me about dreams of meeting me in this beautiful place. And I had all these people around. So I'm putting out there this idea that rich life of living where I feel so alive and connected, where I'm doing my work, where I'm abundant, beyond millionaire because I have everything there, but I'm also using myself creatively all the time. And I'm painting and I'm laughing and I'm singing, so I like what you're saying because it makes sense, especially when we hit like ground zero. Who are you, who you really are? It's like, dream to be a star, like dream to give birth to whatever it is, this or better, that's going to make your life like a beautiful one where you are the sun, like you're lighting you up. I mean, I love what you're saying. Obviously, it got me all excited.
No, you're good. But yeah, as far as that going into the ace of space and creating who you are, but also not self-projecting as well, not creating an idea, and having to have a ground in reality and building relationships, make sure you're reflecting well. I think there's a thin line sometimes, as far as the projection, and also realizing, um, that you just can't create a tale, and you got to show people these particular traits or ideas about yourself. I guess, yeah, show people these particular ideas, or what you're creating as a reality. You can't just live in your head all day. A lot of times, because sometimes we can speak dreams, speak thoughts, and we make it feel a certain way, and we may be creating a whole idea, and people don't even, they're not receiving us in that type of way. So when you were speaking about, the way that you relate as a Cancer to people, also having this conversation with people, making sure that they're really taking you like that, because we can get lost in our conscious, or get
Lost
lost
in
in our
our
mind,
what? Lost in our conscious?
lost in our minds, thinking that we're coming
Mhm.
off a certain way,
Mhm.
but we're really not.
Yeah.
It's just what we're creating about ourselves. But I was saying that it's
Yeah.
not always negative. It's not, because if you want to be this loving person, but people are taking you off as like you having this bad attitude, but you're not. But not to say
Right.
that, of course, how could you do
Yeah.
that? But people can,
Right,
Yeah,
right.
funny story at my job. I was talking, and they've all gotten kind of used to me. It's been a few months now, but I referenced that I know how strong my voice is and my tone. I come from the East Coast. I'm out here, and like some of the people who never even talk, just everybody laughed out loud really hard. I was like, oh, okay. I guess my tone is very noticeable. Like it was just a comedy kind of moment where I was like, you don't even know the effect you're having on people because they don't tell you. But I would say the way that people have done that for me, and I've learned to do it now, is like, I'll just ask. I'm like, I don't know where that's coming from. What you're saying doesn't really resonate to what's happening in the moment. Can you help me understand like where that's coming from? And sometimes it's just a trigger or an insecurity or an auto response. And sometimes it's like, well, actually, da 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 da. It's like, oh, okay. Because sometimes I do it, you just kind of get into your rhetoric and you bring something through. And people have said to me, none of that's in here. You're bringing that energy of like, I'm sorry I didn't do more. Like that's you who's bringing that here. Like no one here feels that. You're bringing
there's
that.
like,
And that wasn't to be mean. That was to be loving. because I wasn't loving me, right? I was doubting me. And they were like, can you really go doubt yourself in the other room? Because I don't really want to be part of it.
No, yeah, for sure. But again, that goes into self-discovery, you know. Being honest with people and having an honest relationship, I think also goes into the Ace of Clubs, Two of Hearts, you know, because if you can't communicate with someone, you can't be honest, you're not able to get that 100% out of them. You know, a lot of people, I realize a lot of people not 100 with you. You can
Mm-mm.
walk around and have a booger on your nose and don't nobody tell you.
Mm-hmm.
You know what's interesting? I've been sitting here, you know how I come up with different things that I find in this plate pretty much every week. Because there's so much layers to it, right? And we've been talking about the aces, right? But if you look, the sevens, well, two of them, it's interesting. The seven of clubs has the ace of hearts crowning it. The seven of diamonds has the ace of clubs crowning it. But when you look at the seven of hearts, it has the three of hearts. The seven of spades has the three of spades. So there, and I've noticed too, like a lot of times with the seven energy connected to the ace, I talk about it's that inside out. You know, it starts from within. It is your thoughts and what you, because your thoughts are things. And it's interesting that the seven of clubs has the ace of hearts, you know, above it, because a lot of times we don't realize. It's funny in my readings now, I call it the inside voice inside your head, not not quieting yourself, but the voice inside your head. How do you respond to things? What do you think? Like, and so there is that element of having to, you know, see that it does come from the inside out. Everything on the outside is just a reflection of what you think, believe, what you've said. And so it's just really fascinating when you look at the plates, how that lines up too. And then go down even deeper, the kings are right there below it too. Where the kings have the seven, the ace, the seven, the three, the seven, the ace, and then obviously the king of spades doesn't too. So I think we talked about that last week, how the three kings have the sevens crowning them. So
That makes so much sense, Gina, right? Because
mm-hmm.
if you think of, like you say, come from the self, right? And then go to how you meet the world, right? That's that stuff we talked about. Like, here's you, here's the heart space, and here's the world going on in that toric field, and how you're going to respond, because you're going to be so distracted, right, with those threes. But then you got to come to your clarity, run your seven to heaven, and then lead.
Yep. So it's interesting how we look at our spreads, but sometimes we miss even what's around us, above us, below us, behind us. So for anybody watching, like, really look at these plates. There's so much that you can discover. You start to see this pattern, just start to see, and you'll see that two or three of the cards have similar things. That's been my thing for the last few years. It's like, wow, that's so crazy. I'm always trying to, again, make it make sense. So it's just how my brain sees it.
Yeah, you got to look at it as far as the patterns, because it's going to help you understand what's taking place. And also, whenever you're given a reading, like I was luckily, of course, like I said, I ran into a ace of clubs this week. So speaking with the ace of clubs, Nick called me randomly. I was able to kind of really understand it and look at the patterns of them, because Nick really brought things into reality, right? He was giving me critique, all right, because you look at life from your point of view a lot of times, right? So you're not able to kind of see the patterns of other people, you know. So hopefully we're able to kind of help you see these patterns and look at it, because you can see the similarities, and you can see how people operate. I was saying earlier, a lot of times I use the cards, and I wasn't saying it like "whoa me" type of thing. We're not really saying I'm sorry, but I am sorry as far as sometimes I just use the cards on the daily basis to look at, you know, myself and other people, just to understand, you know, just my day to day. So I don't run it like a business, you know, so to say. So a lot of times whenever you're looking at the cards, you get to discover and learn a lot of things about yourself and the relationships with your family, and those things that's what drives you a lot of times, you know. So you miss a lot of things whenever you're not being conscious and aware and making sure that you giving attention to other people, right? I think so. Whenever you look at the cards and really look at them and look at the patterns, you're able to understand a lot of different characteristics of people, a lot of different patterns, right? I think the Ace of Clubs is a very good study case because they stay so fixed, and they don't get to see other people. And
You're a
like Nick
science
said,
experiment, Nick.
they are because he, like he said, he doesn't get to see other people. He see it from his
Shit.
perspective.
I don't know nothing about that. No.
Well,
But we have some questions. I want to answer some of the questions. I know we've been here, about to close out here in a second, but let's see if we can answer some of these questions. Someone asked earlier about the hidden power. I haven't been looking at the comments. Sorry. Um, so someone did ask about the hidden powers. Here you go. So it said the new cardology enthusiast. I have learned that my hidden power is an ace of clubs. What does this look like? Continuing education, seeking higher knowledge throughout my life. Question mark. So I'm guessing that they looked up the definition of the card a little bit and said is that the meaning of that card. So Gina, you want to answer or take a stab at it as far as the
Yeah,
hidden
I
power
mean,
and what that
so if
means
you
to
have
you?
in the hidden powers when you take your card together, right? Am I correct with that?
Mhm. Yeah, that's like
Your
that's what
birth
they
card and your
refer.
birth card and getting the composite of it, right? That's what yeah.
Mhm.
So,
What's a
um,
composite for you?
nine of clubs, I believe. If I take
Okay,
me
your
and me,
Mercury card.
yeah, because 22 isn't nine of clubs number 22.
40,
Whatever's 22, right? 11 and
11,
11 is
yeah,
20.
it's the Nine of Clubs.
yeah,
Yep.
nine of clubs for me. So, which is my Mercury card. The ace of clubs, though, that being your hidden power when you take your card and your card, put it together. So there is this, be excited for new ideas and new beliefs and ask the questions. Don't be afraid. Like embrace that energy. Um, you may there can be that essence of that insatiable desire for knowledge, for information, but trust yourself. That would be my advice to having an ace as a hidden power, is to trust yourself. To trust yourself for sure.
And can I add
Hmm.
to what Gina's saying? Because I agree. But the continuing education piece
Hmm.
that they wrote or asked about, that's something that I don't see often. I don't even really hear people talk about that. So that's something that is a lifelong thing. And just real quick, in the hair industry that I'm in, I've been in since high school, since I graduated high school. And I've, typically people graduate from high school and that's it. I mean, from cosmetology school and that's it. And they just do hair. But the greats, they go back and they pay a lot of money for continuing education because there's always something to learn. There's always a haircut
Hmm.
that you don't know, or if you already know it, someone else has a new trick that could make it easier, so that it could take that hour haircut and make it 15 minutes. There's always continuing education in any industry that one is in. So if you have, hopefully you're passionate about whatever it is that you're doing, and if so, you would want to invest in yourself, which is spending money in continuing education. So I really, really like that because I wish that if more people actually invested into continuing education within their field, we would have more successful people. We will have more people who operate with Saturn versus Uranus. They just want to make some money real quick. Come on, come on, come on. It's like Saturn. No, this is my reputation. I want to be the best. I'm gonna put everything into this. That's what we would have if people really, really, really would just continue their education. It doesn't stop.
Yeah, 'cause don't get complacent, right? No matter what it is, like you just using the hair as an example. Experiment with different textures, do different ethnicities, learn different
Hmm.
styles, or maybe branch into men's, kids. There's so many opportunities. Don't limit yourself to the opportunities, because the ace of clubs will always bring a new spark, a new idea, a new belief. And again, it's trusting that, okay, knowing that if I take this class or if I learn this, it's going to be successful. Like that's a key to that energy. It's
Hmm.
not going to give you something new, and then it's up to you though. Are you going to flatline that, or are you going to, keep it going?
Mhm. Yeah, I was just talking to Ace of Clubs again. I keep saying it. But I was just talking to Ace of Clubs and the Seven of Diamonds in Neptune. So I was talking about acquisition of like spiritual information, knowledge, values. How do you value yourself? There's perfectionism within the Seven of Diamonds as well. So that's kind of what I was speaking about. Was always continuing to gain more information or knowledge or different skill set or different tool, acquiring a new, if you do hair, a new flat iron, new technology or something of value. So it's acquisition and something of value. So definitely, most definitely, as far as the Ace of Club, continuing education with the Three of Diamonds and the Ace of Spades. So most definitely. Nothing more I can really add there. Let's see. The second question that we kind of had was my Saturn placement. It's a card that I'm not sure I have truly unlocked. So that would be for the Queen of Hearts, right? Mercury, Venus, Mercury, Saturn.
It is.
so, so the Ace of Clubs and Saturn. So what I would do, which book, Sacred Symbols, I'll do this one.
They also they have the Ace of Clubs, the Queen of Hearts, because that who has the Ace of Clubs and Saturn also has the Ace of Spades as their cosmic lesson. So,
Hmm.
and that to me is very much about what we know. Anytime there's an Ace in Saturn, whether it's your life, a week, a year, the energy is asking you to look at yourself. The energy is asking you to not get distracted by others and really, because like it's all about, I'm good, like really again trusting yourself, especially for the Queen of Hearts. Relationships can be very distracting for that energy. They can get very complacent. They can get very I jokingly say, the Queen of Hearts likes to be fed grapes and her feet's massaged and, someone blowing a fan on them. So there's this very like, essence of comfort, and they can get too comfortable. And with the Ace and Saturn and then add the Ace of Spades as the cosmic lesson, they have to be very comfortable in who they are and what they know and what they believe, but also again be careful as I think too. Then that the Two of Hearts is connected there as well. They have to be very comfortable with who they are and have that self, sovereignty in relationships, and be careful of getting too caught up in or distracted in others. And also that's a very strong card of like self-development, developing the self, developing the mind, developing the body, developing your health, taking care of yourself. Because again, we know the Queen of Hearts can be a very strong card of overindulging, so knowing when enough is enough and to really implement your own, boundaries and beliefs, and standing on that. But really a lot of self-development and self-awareness with those two cards there.
Yeah, so as far as the Ace of Clubs and Saturn, as far as what I can see, um, self awareness, self development, but also not being doubtful of what you know and the information that you know as well. So going with your intuition, that can make one maybe even sensitive, right? Or rejecting, feeling rejected, feeling like the opinions could be rejected as well. I think whenever you're looking at a Saturn card, it's like, am I maximizing that particular card or using it fullest potential or unlocking that card? The essence of unlocking a card, I think, is something that we all reach for, as far as understanding who we are, and we're all so new, right? I think these things are things that we should go through as children and learn as children. To be honest, as far as like who we are, I think, of course, the adults and everyone around us is learning who we are, right, as they go along and trying to understand. Because a lot of us are new parents. Well, I'm talking about everybody is new parent, right? We've never done this thing before until we have a kid, right? So trying to help somebody else and got someone around, you need elders, for that as well. And I don't know how everyone else's grandparents are, but I don't think they're the most adept at metaphysics. If you do have those people around, then you're in a very blessed situation, right? So whenever you're looking at the Queen of Hearts and the Ace of Clubs, I think of like mothering. It's like the mothering card, right? Someone was talking about Mother Teresa this week as well. So even with the Ace of Clubs, it has a Queen of Clubs and Mercury. So it is like I think a Mother Teresa or a teacher or someone that helps and guide other people, or having a Mother Teresa around in some type of way, or having that mother that's there to give you information or knowledge in some type of way, right? So you have a Queen of Hearts talking about the Ace of Clubs, right? And it has a Queen of Neptune and a queen and Mercury. The Ace of Clubs has a queen and Mercury. So you have two queens. So those are double queens. So that can be like I was talking about sensitivity that can come with that as well. So right here in the books it says may suffer disappointments through failure to attain their cherished objectives. I think that disappointment as can be opinions. That's why I keep pointing to, but often pursue a desired career without sufficient talent for success or sufficient application to learn the technique. Must be willing to make a serious effort towards a solid foundation through a desire for service. May become interested in nursing or healing. The career may be checked because of illness in the family. So I wouldn't say not having application or sufficient talent. I would say more of needing where it says with the solid foundation, but needing education or desiring knowledge, and I think making sure they stick to something or sticking it out. Like I said, we were talking about earlier the five of clubs and the three of diamonds with the ace of clubs, but it can lead to a change or a new idea. Being able to be distracted easily, possibly as well. And so, whenever you're looking at this or you're going through these particular cards and you're talking about mastering these things, you want to make sure you understand the cards or unlocking the cards to its fullest potential. What is its fullest potential? A lot of self mastery comes later in age. So be gentle with yourself and as far as where you are at this particular time and where you are with the Ace of Clubs and itself, because you're going to have another Ace of Clubs that shows you another side of the Ace of Clubs when they come out, will come into your life. So that's kind of how it works as well. Because you have people like Aquarius being my transformation card. I've learned so much about the four clubs, you know. But my best friend, when I was younger, he showed me the gaming side of the Ace of Clubs. Of course, Aquarius has that, but I really got to see the four of clubs can be a gamer, and potentially a lot of times because of that five of hearts as well. So I don't want to stay on that question too long. Is there anything that anyone want to add about the Ace of Queen of Hearts, Ace of Clubs, Saturn?
I mean, no, y'all pretty much hit. I mean, not pretty much. Y'all hit the hammer on the nail. I noticed that real quick. I just noticed that with Queen of Hearts, people typically correlate that to hair, beauty, right? And
Mhm.
I've noticed that the Ace of Clubs, me being the Saturn card, anytime typically a woman has sat in the chair, I have to coach them on they need to put themselves first. Even if you're rushing me to go to your kid's soccer game, you need to put yourself first. There's so many things that I've had to coach them on how to put themselves first. If they're complaining about something, it's always because they didn't put themselves first. So you got to blame yourself. If you're going to blame anybody, don't blame nobody, but you have to look at yourself. So I'm always having to tell them, the woe is me stories. Oh, my mama did this, my daddy did that. You know what I'm saying? Well, what were you supposed to learn from that? So all that is to me, that is me playing the role of Saturn to the Queen of Hearts. And I never knew it. I never even knew it. I never was doing it intentionally. But that's just the energy showing up. They're just trying to get beautified, but they're getting coached while they're getting beautified at the same time.
What a beautiful
And
place
that's
for you, Nick.
Mhm.
What a beautiful place for your energy and to bring that to women in such a safe way while they're being nurtured. That's the magic. That's where your skills are such exactly what they need, because when you're running at that pace, you don't even consider that you're not taking care of yourself because you're getting your hair done.
Hmm. Hmm.
Nick hates that part though, but that's another conversation.
Goodbye.
That's the Jack of Hearts part that he hates. That is the Jack of Hearts part that he
Yep,
hates.
yep.
But it's like I said, that's where he's going to be in some type of way. Either a good friend to someone and giving that love, the opinions, and the grace to him. You know, because that's the sacrifice. I think that happens, but that's where your blessings lay. To be honest, um, that's what they say.
For sure, for sure.
So another question, I believe that might be my moon as a queen of clubs. So we kind of spoke about the queen of clubs. Nick was speaking about it just now, and his value is with the ace of clubs. So having as a queen of clubs, having the ace of clubs there, having someone to push you, give you guidance, and kind of help you out. How do you see the relationship for the queen of clubs and the ace of clubs? Anyone?
It's interesting because I have an Ace of Clubs child, and her father, is a Queen of Clubs. So, um, and I see how the two of them interact, and it's funny. Um, and it's so funny how we're all very much, now that I'm thinking about it, we're all very much connected. And with that relationship, I wholeheartedly believe that him and I have been, we were together a long time ago and then came back together. And I believe it was solely for the purpose of bringing her here, because she was definitely meant to be here for us, like just to really help show us a lot of different things and ignite new beginnings. Because the Ace of Clubs is how my whole business got started. So that's when I really started to make sense of these cards. I was like, golly, that's pretty spot on. But anyways, the Queen of Clubs and the Ace of Clubs, with the Ace of Clubs supporting that Queen of Clubs, um, there, it's kind of where that intuition comes from. You know what I mean? Like it's a push to really spark, the thoughts and the beliefs and the questions. And it is, again, trusting your yourself, those, however it comes to you. Everybody has different ways of their intuition lighting up, right? And being able to kind of understand that and connect with that. And I feel like in this time, a lot of people, we're not taught to connect with ourselves. We're not really encouraged to trust ourselves in that sense. We're always, you know focused on others. And that's one thing I love about the cards is, and Rashad and I went through this together, and it was very much about learn you. Everything starts with you. And so we see with the Ace of Clubs being behind the Queen of Clubs, that intuition starts with you being able to listen to it, being clear, being, able to trust it, being open to it, know that it's there. And it's always there. It's just, are you listening to it? Are you paying attention to it? Are you aware of it? So I think they definitely, even that's in perfect order in the sense that it supports that energy, the Queen of Clubs. And they have to stand on, they have that, the Queen of Clubs has that tendency, we used to talk about it all the time, of dethroning themselves, because they have that sacrificial, because they have the Jack of Hearts and Pluto. So they have this tendency to want to stay, they're very much a Captain Save-A-Ho energy, right? And so I used to, when I saw, when we were doing a lot of those clubhouse rooms, we would talk a lot about the Queen of Clubs and how they will dethrone themselves to meet others, when really it's required to, they stay where they are and require others to come up to them. And that is about, again, knowing who you are and trusting who you are. And you don't have to save everybody. And not, and that's kind of the epitome of, you can bring them to the water, but you can't make them drink it. You know what I mean? Like, you can bring them this information, right? And what they do with it is on them. But you have, there is that messenger energy with the Queen of Clubs, so trusting those messages, deciphering the messages, it all is very much a big part of that. And it's interesting because I've had a lot of Queen of Clubs men around me, and it makes sense. I'm the Pluto card to that. So there is a very strong connection to that energy.
And like you said, the sacrificing yourself. A lot of times, Nick was talking about making the Queen of Hearts taking care of themselves. A lot of the queens, taking care of yourself, Mercury, really going to Saturn. They have the Seven of Hearts, Saturn. And we were talking about the sevens and the aces connection a little bit, 7 3s, ace type of connection. So taking care of yourself a lot of times, and putting yourself first. And as far as relationships and being a kind of Nick was talking about relationships. It can be a staple in your life. I see a lot of Queen of Clubs. I want to ask about that. How y'all doing right now with the Five of Clubs? Someone might be like, he's been petty. No, I'm serious. A lot of Queen of Clubs hit me up about Five of Clubs. And something
It's
about
their
the Five.
Venus. Hmm.
Yes, they're Venus, but a lot of them are. It's the Five of Clubs give y'all room for your money.
Hmm.
It's hard
Hmm.
to keep up. Nick said,
Hmm. And that's why I think, in certain books, the Queen of Clubs is deemed someone who, when it comes to relationships, right? And I very much, I've been in a relationship with the Queen of Clubs, and that Five of Clubs and Venus is a very interesting um, placement. One thing I dealt with this person was they actually didn't communicate. That was one of our biggest like gripes, was there was not a lot of communications between us within the relationships. There was a lot of communications outside the
Mm.
relationships, but not within the relationship. And I think that was the mistake, is we both went outside to get answers when we really needed to come within. And that breakdown of communications, even just yesterday, right, because he came to get our child, and the thing about a bathing suit, I'm like, well, you didn't communicate that she needed a bathing suit. You know what I mean? So even I still deal with it. I still deal with it. I said communication is key. If I would have known she needed a bathing suit, I would have made sure the bathing suit was washed and ready to go. But you don't say nothing, I don't know. So
so could that so there can be a push and maybe someone pushing them to communicate or needing to communicate. So something around communication, partnerships within their relationships is probably there. So I think a lot of times with the moon card, it can be something that we may not be seeing, something that someone can be pushing us to do as well.
mhm.
I wouldn't say deficiency or lack, but there's something that you need to really look at as far as your emotions and something that could be affecting you subconsciously, possibly. Yeah. So yeah, thank you for that, because that's very important, especially with the Queen of Clubs men. And they having to transform into that King of Hearts. We kind of spoke about that a little last week. So if you haven't seen the Queen of Clubs, did we spoke about it last week? Maybe which week was that? Which one? The King of Hearts was last week, right? Yeah. So we did speak about it last week.
Hmm.
So yeah, the transformation between the Queen of Clubs and King of Hearts. There's a relationship there, especially for the men. So
Yeah, the first person for me was a Queen of Clubs, one of the earliest men in my life, and he definitely also didn't communicate what was going on, and it would definitely be a bump. So I think what you're all saying is so on point. It's so important for all of us to be able to express.
And
And
I agree. I agree with you guys, and I just wanted to say that the I've of course supporting that Queen of Clubs. I've looked at this. That Five of Clubs basically sits in the same house with the Five of Hearts. Has the same karma. That's the karma while it's there, and so it's like that the ghosted conversation, the conversation where you said this or you didn't get anything. It's like talking to yourself type of relationship, and that would be the Five of Hearts challenging the Five of Clubs. That was just the best thing I can come up with, because I get that question so many times between the Queen of Clubs and the Five of Clubs, and the best thing I can come up with is the challenging karma card, the Five of Hearts, and that card will not say anything.
well, that's what you've observed. So not just best you come up with, it's what you've observed and what they've communicated probably back with you as well, as far as the communication. So yes, there's definitely something going on and kind of taking place. Like I said, it's something I observe as far as the Five of Clubs, Queen of Clubs. There's a lot of other things as well, but we'll leave that for the conversation. The Queen of Clubs when it comes up. So that is in 11 weeks now, because they're the 12. So we're in the Ace of Clubs week, and I have another question. I'm like from a Queen of Clubs, but actually she's Ace of Diamonds. So we have another question. My business, Moonflower Reiki, give us a business a shout out, is an Ace of Clubs. How do I maximize potential and see it? Um, Moonflower Reiki, as so it is dealing with Reiki, is something I want to say about Reiki. Oh yeah, the Two of Hearts, Venus, Neptune. I also see the Ace of Hearts as well. I look at as far as Reiki. dealing with health, dealing with the body, you know. But I say that because it's also Reiki. I don't know. We have some Reiki experts. I'm not the best person in Reiki. Maybe we can have a Reiki guest on one day. But I think it deals with your intuition as well, or the flow and movement of energy, which I think is intuition. So, but that is the hidden power. So, how do you all look at the hidden power, or have you looked at the hidden power before? And I know we have done a room on hidden power. So, the way that I've seen it or come out, a lot of times, what I want to tell people, don't stress about the hidden power and unlocking the hidden power. It is something that is being played out, I feel. It's like coming up with the name. Like, how do I maximize my name as Rashad? I don't know. I just do it. My name is a Queen of Clubs. As I said, I have a lot of Queen of Clubs around me. That's not nothing I orchestrated. That's something the energy did, and I moved it around. And you do play your cards. It is playing the cards you dealt. So it is understanding the cards and how do you play the cards and understanding it. But don't stress about it too much because a lot of times you're doing it. So what you want to do is just understand the card in itself, and making sure that you're not doing the low sides of that particular card because you're going to maximize it in certain ways as well. So you may be as an ace of diamond, I think you may gravitate more of that queen of diamonds, three of diamonds. So Mercury, Venus, Mars, Jupiter. So as she's asking me a question, right? I was just saying the Ace of Clubs uses the three of diamonds a lot. So, and actually to tell you, I know for sure that this person has a three of diamonds. That's their business partner or they work with. So that's that relationship as far as the Ace of Clubs, working with that three of diamonds, right? Understanding three of diamonds in that relationship. So the name in itself, going back to the name in itself. So a name for me kind of works in a way like if I have a business and it comes up as an ace of clubs, I'm probably dealing with people. Relationship is, I wouldn't say consulting, but consulting or day to day in some type of way, right? So I'm always communicating to people about something, maybe about their relationship, giving them advice around something. Whenever you're looking at the Ace of Clubs, you want to look at the spiritual information and knowledge, something coming out secret. No. So I don't know about Reiki. So you're probably dealing with the body, healing them in certain type of ways. So you gain some type of esoteric information, maybe around the health. You know, um, I don't want to take too much up on the floor. But anything else anybody want to say? Because I can
No,
keep going.
yeah, I got to get going. We've been here 2 hours. This
Okay.
was good though.
Yeah, nice to have you here, Nick. And yeah, I like the way we're using the questions and doing the weeks differently. It's awesome.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I know we spoke. We was here for a long time. I want to get the questions before we can
All right, well,
leave.
finish up.
So
If
yeah,
someone has to go, we go.
no, yeah, we can go ahead and leave. I go through the comments. Y'all can go ahead and leave if there's anything else or any last questions. You all can maybe get them in if y'all have to go. I understand as well. There's only like 6 people here. Um, Nick, was there anything that you want to say before you go, or did you have to go as well?
No, I'm gonna keep listening. I have a notepad and a pen, so.
I don't have to go yet. I'm sitting outside with the dogs. I'm okay. But I heard Gina say it, and I was just trying to honor the 2-hour thing. But I'm happy to hear the questions. I'm chilling.
Yeah, I mean, we can
No,
go
you
through the
fine.
questions.
No, you fine. You fine. I was just gonna go through the comments to making sure there wasn't anything else or any comments as well. So I know Gina has to go. So let me go through the comments. So we touched on the Ace of Clubs as far as the name and what the name kind of means and how to kind of use it. And that's just also for everybody. Understanding like it's unlocking the cards and understanding the cards. But to understand to unlock a card, you got to understand the full spread. Is kind of what I'm saying. You got to understand the card fully and look at it kind of from every angle. And that's why we're here. That's why we take on the questions. So I'm like telling you, don't ask us questions and don't stress, right? But I just feel like people like stressed out and worried about doing it to its fullest potential. But it's really a life type of thing as far as what I feel. I just feel like you do it over time. You do it throughout life. So when people say, "How do I maximize this?" I just feel like anxiety coming through me. So,
Well, I think it's
um,
important to know with the, like you're talking about the Ace of Clubs and where it can be in different places. You have to understand what is Mercury, what is Venus, what is Mars, what is Jupiter, and not just even that, you can go deeper because where is it, for you, and how it shows up because everybody, certain people have it in their spreads, it comes up in their readings or in their plates. So knowing what does Jupiter bring? I think there was a question about having it in their Jupiter I saw earlier. And so, we know Jupiter expands whatever it touches. It's considered the planet of good luck or blessings, right? But it does it, that could be where you question a lot of things or you question a lot of things that leads you to new opportunities. I think having anybody who has an ace in Jupiter is really, again, being new things is what can bring you blessings, and with that, new information, new knowledge, and being very inquisitive, and that could be like a forever student, always kind of looking for those answers and stuff like that. But being new beginnings can be very exciting for someone who has an ace of clubs in Jupiter. um, they definitely would be, again, always constantly looking for answers, studying, being exposed to different. It's like a higher learning type card, where you're always, and maybe even studying different religions and different beliefs, and taking adventures would be a big part of having an ace of clubs in Jupiter. Exposing yourself to new cultures, new ideas, new beliefs. Don't limit yourself. The more that you open up to new ideologies and new philosophies, the more expansion and growth that you would have personally of your own, just like, catalog of experiences that you've had throughout your life. I think that'd be someone who has an ace of clubs in Jupiter.
yeah, that's about the only question I've seen as well. So
Yeah.
the new beginnings and always being fresh to a new adventure as well. Like you said, don't
Mhm.
don't limit yourself. So being open to new relationships, new people, not being so fixed as the ace of clubs would say they are, right? Because it's going only moving back and forth between the two of hearts and the ace of clubs as a semi-fixed card. But relationships are important, so you have this idealization about a certain person or how you want them to be, especially your Jupiter, your husband, so you have this certain fantasy. But also explore, be inquisitive about everyone. I think Jupiter tells you to explore, to get new ideas. So looking at things a different type of way. I know you have your checklist and things and ways you want certain things, right? But overall, that allows you also to understand just people, and being curious and being able to understand people and love people for who they are, because like we said, that has the sevens kind of close by. So,
And that's the 10 of clubs who has the ace of clubs in Jupiter. So it showed, we know the 10 of clubs is an energy of a big mind, a lot of thoughts, a lot of ideas. It pretty basically comes from there. The ace of clubs in Jupiter. My friend who's a 10 of clubs, she kind of explained it that it's like a million bunny rabbits jumping around in her head, with all these different thoughts and ideas, and that's why it can be. And then the lower side of that, because Jupiter is interesting. We don't talk about that too much. That's why the 10 of clubs is the card of insomnia, and it's
mhm.
probably because the ace of clubs is in Jupiter. The overthinking, the questioning, right? So that they're not really ever being satisfied with the answer. And so you're constantly up at night, like, and you've got to quiet all the bunny rabbits jumping around in your head, right? That's why it's so important for the 10 of clubs to be physically active. I think it's one of the strongest cards that has to have some kind of regimen of being able to, do something that helps to put the bunny rabbits to sleep, and so that they can sleep. And so moving your body, being physical, having an outlet for those thoughts. And a lot of times they're very strong writers, journalers, because they need to have a place to put those thoughts. Because if not, it can be a little cuckoo up in there. So they they have to, or you just overthink things, and you start to question things, because that's, again, go back to the ace of clubs. It's questions. It's seeking some kind of information and some kind of knowledge. So can they decipher and can they quiet that that energy is specifically at night?
A thirst for
Maybe not
knowledge.
even just at night, all day.
Yeah, a thirst for knowledge, a thirst for information, a daily obsession, right?
Mm-hmm. So move your body, have a physical activity that helps you to kind of get out of there, right? And to be able to kind of exhaust your physical self so that your mind can follow.
I mean, that I told you before, I think that's the most common client I have is a 10 of clubs. Like there's like so many 10s of clubs that come, and that there's that mental game, and they're so smart, and I learned so
Super
much from every
smart.
single one of them. Man, what
Mm-hmm.
geniuses. But can they slow that ship down? Can they like
Mm-hmm.
bring it to the place where they're like residing in like all that clarity but in a peaceful way? Because the tendency to go into the narrative and then reclaim the emotions there, I think that's part of the classroom for all of us right now, is like, those are stories that happen, but remember, every time we go there or talk about those things, we like bring it back up. It's just like when you hear an old song on the radio, it's one of your songs, right? And when you start to play that song again, all of that stuff comes back. And especially if you're empathic or in tune to things, like forget about it, right? You can't help but be lost in those emotions unless you recognize that it's truly a story, kind of like it's happening on TV. It's not happening to you. Like, stop acting like it keeps happening to you. It's not happening to you only in the way you keep talking about it happening to you. That seems to be the theme of what I'm trying to get across, because once it happens, it seems like it just resets itself over and over.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, replaying the negative.
Yeah, like
But that
whatever the
also
push is, right? Because there's a push. There's like I got to do this because of this. Like, you don't know what happened to me. Like there's like a push from the negative instead of an acceptance that it's working out. I have everything I need. I'm taking my classroom. Like, it's just a shift in the way you push from, right? Because if you pull from being depressed or anxious or overwhelmed or pissed off, you grow more of that.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, again, classroom I had to learn, not something
Well,
I
and
came
remember,
knowing.
bunnies multiply.
Exactly. So
what
it's like,
are we multiplying here?
and there's nowhere to put them to live, and you're trying to figure out what you're going to do for new places. It's like,
when she said that, I was like, oh, I'm stealing that, because
yeah.
that's pretty spot on.
And they never know what the real one is, because all the bunnies have value. You know what I mean? So it's like they can't take the focus to something,
Mm-hmm. So that's one way to, in Ace of Clubs in Jupiter, we see how that can be ignited. It is like
yeah, they do tend to help people too. They do tend to take in
they're
people.
coaches, they're teachers. They can take the information and they can make it give you some. They're really good. I've noticed too, people come to the 10 of clubs. I think there's something with the 10 energy that people, obviously they deal well with groups. These are like your public speakers, your big family people. And a lot of times the family will come for, like, they know the answer. They know the information, or shit, they probably have the money to help you. Because I've noticed that with 10 energy, people come to them for something, whether it's support, advice, money, something to that extent. And they will usually give it. They have this desire, but they also have a desire to kind of take over and control situations that maybe aren't even theirs to control. And I've noticed that as well. And it is usually out of generosity of wanting to help, but
yeah,
they
kind of
also
like what
have
Nick
that.
was saying before, like he would just take the leadership, like
Yeah,
maybe
they
it
do.
said Ace of Clubs and Jupiter. It's like, no, you just do this, this, this. And it's like, well,
Yeah.
wait a minute. Like, I know your brain has the capacity to process it really fast, but you haven't slowed down to recognize the ripples.
Yeah. I did a trip to Utah. We did a show. Actually, it's funny. We went to Salt Lake City. This was a long time ago. It's actually 5 years ago, sometime soon. Anyways, the 10 of clubs was there. And when I tell you we took over everything, I'm like, this isn't even your business. This isn't even your show. You're literally just here as support. But now you running it. And you know what? You just let them. Like, I was like, whatever. You want to build all this, build it. I don't even care. I'm going to go over here.
Yeah, you back away because they're high maintenance too, because they're
Very.
hypersensitive.
Yeah.
I mean, Groisha's a 10 of clubs. So God, I wish I would have known. I mean, I love Groisha, but I don't know if I would have picked the 10 of clubs and more I live it. But like
But it's not,
You
it
know
is,
what
it
I
is,
mean?
it's 10 energy. I don't think it's just the 10 of clubs. I've noticed it with 10 energy. There's this sense of, taking over, being in charge, being, and remember, Aquarius calls them that. All tens have that princess aspect about it. So it's attention. It's the look.
Mm-hmm.
I came to save. I came to fix. I came to do this, and so they kind of enjoy maybe that attention of that accomplishment, because they are very strong cards of being accomplished. And again, people come to them for their accomplishments. I've noticed that with the 10 of clubs specifically, a lot of their family tends to come, to them because they tend to be the one who's
Advice.
accomplished those.
Hmm.
Hmm?
For the expertise, or like you
Yeah.
said, the association who they built
Mhm.
their career around, or the people that they know. So yeah.
Find a lot of times they tend to be sometimes the most, like, some of the, like, they're the first one that made it, went to college, or they're the first one that did this, or they're the most successful one in their family, and now all their family becomes leeches.
Mm.
Nice.
Yeah,
But
first
then they
put in the
take it like
pool.
a cross. They take it like a cross, like how they're
Hmm.
doing this and this and this. Like I said to one just recently, I said, not for nothing, but like whatever that is that you claimed as this little boy savior, like that's limiting the man from being able to become his whole self, because that little boy keeps thinking that he's in charge and he did it right. And he may have at a time, but that's not now. Like
Hmm.
that's not what's happening anymore. So you told a story about the way you were doing it and you believed it and you're in love with it. Like you just love that guy. You just think you want to tell me all the time how cool he is and what he does and what he did. And I'm totally with you. And I think he's great too. But you're holding this pain about this wound of why you felt you had to and it wasn't fair. But it's what happened so that you could be who you are. It didn't happen because somebody did something wrong. Like obviously we all are gonna hurt each other and punch on each other and love on each other as we grow up. That's how you
Hmm.
mature.
Mm.
But yeah, there's definitely a
Yeah,
holding of where it comes from, your motivation, where it comes from.
Hmm.
the sense of identity, who you are, how you relate to the world, is very important to them, I think. And like you said, they hold on to that success and to that satisfaction a lot. Um, and it is important to the tender clubs, I think, to be the teacher, being able to help and guide people. But yeah, that's the only question. I don't want to keep us too long. I know we've been on for like 2 hours. That was the only real question that I was going to ask, so that we kind of had. But we'll be here because there was two 10 clubs actually here. So we'll be here next week. It is a 2 of clubs week, and it is a genius. I think it is Elon Musk card as well, and it goes into perfection. The King of Clubs is in Mercury. I thought it was really dope. I had a wow aha moment with the Ace of Clubs and Pluto. So we'll see, since it's a solar eclipse this week. So we should get something really spicy this week, right? um,
Hmm.
the solar eclipse is on what day?
Tomorrow.
It's tomorrow, and so yeah, tomorrow is the starts the 2 of clubs day, and I believe the 2 of clubs is the moon for the King of Diamonds tomorrow,
So
because it
Mm.
tomorrow
sits
is the
behind.
King of.
I think I should be more scared than I am.
Yeah.
It's a King of Diamonds day tomorrow? Okay.
Huh? Tomorrow, yeah, King of Diamonds tomorrow.
Yeah,
Okay.
tomorrow is the King of Diamonds Day, right? And you're talking about in the
Hmm.
United States, Brad Nick, that it's the moon card to it.
Well, no, just because I believe, like, even looking at the spread that Rashad has up right now, if you look at what's sitting behind the King of Diamonds, it's the King of Hearts, and the
Oh,
two
with
of
the two of
clubs
clubs.
is sitting right behind it in the moon.
Hmm. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah. And
look at where, we just had, like, there's such a huge Aries energy right now, because Venus just went into Aries, the moon just went into Aries, Chiron is in Aries, this is all how the sun is in Aries, Mercury is in Aries. So but it's interesting where it's happening in a 2 of clubs week, right? So there's that essence of the partnering and dealing with the other, but the energy is asking you, because what's connected to the 2 of clubs, what's its challenging karma card? The Ace of Spades. So in Aries is very much about self and self identity and who I am. I am is Aries. We also know 2 of clubs is a card of, arguing and debating and the conversation, the communications, the flow,
negotiation, negotiation,
right?
negotiation.
But creating, ideally, is it's to create more harmonious communications without the friction, without the arguing. But a lot of times it's stemmed in fear because it's the fear card, right? But a lot of the times the fear is self-inflicted. It's coming from your own, like, so when you really stop and you think, wait a minute, like, and that this is where you really have to go within to yourself and be like, where is this coming from? And I'm creating it, you know what I mean? So this is really good. We're looking at that Ace of Spades being the challenging karma card is really, again, because just those reflections, it's just self, so really taking ownership of how you communicate and how you express yourself. And is it coming from a space of fear, doubt, or worry? And then go deeper. Where is that coming from? And then unpack that, because again, it can be very heated energy. It can be very aggressive energy, but we have to sit and really see, where is this coming from? And what's going to show it to you is your relationships. That is where it's going to come from.
And the evolution or the transformation from a duality consciousness to a oneness, of course, that's going to be where our fight is, right? Because for the longest time, part of the self-protection system that everybody created wherever they were standing in the spread was about self-preservation. It was about not getting lost, not getting taken over. Now there's a call to actually surrender, to use your voice for the win-wins. And that's energy and a different motivation. And it means you have to trust there are win-wins. And if you get salty, you don't trust it for a minute,
Mm-hmm. Yep. It transforms into the King of Spades. So, that that the most powerful card in the deck. And so there is about taking back your power, realizing that you are the captain of your ship. And and I think there's so much king energy connected to this card. The King of Clubs is the Mercury, so it is that authority and the confidence. And it's a very interesting card. It's actually going to be my Pluto card this week.
Nice. It's going to be a pull-up. I think it's going to be a pull-up to a higher place for more receiving. It'll be a pull-up.
I'm going to stay inside.
Well, you're always true.
My mouth, Jesus.
Yeah.
I should probably stay inside and avoid people. No, I can't. Like, that's the thing. It's like, so knowing that it's my Pluto card this week, it will really be interesting to see how that plays out. Now, I can say this too: if you have that card in Pluto or anywhere else, like, there is going to be elements of fear that you're going to have to address. And we know Pluto is also very strong in bringing up those fears, and just to show you that again, it makes you look at yourself and address where these triggers and these fears may be coming from, so that you can, again, create more harmonious conversations that don't root in fear or that codependency energy, because that's what those twos can bring.
Yeah, so definitely, it's telling you to get outside, go outside and see what you can find. There's a conversation.
Yeah. See what's in the classroom for you. Don't deny the class.
No, it'll be fun. Trust me. I will be home tomorrow, but I won't be outside tomorrow. That's for sure. I will stay my happy butt in the house tomorrow.
But I think what you're talking about is like being able to say it without the attachment to whatever the long ass shared woundings are, right? Because why do you got to keep saying it like that? You don't got to say it like that. And I think those tones in our narrative, I think that's what's starting to like shift out, because you can say it. It's the tone that somebody's hearing. Like, and I'll say for my character, telling somebody something that they don't want to hear isn't easy. Right. Unless you're joking and playing and it's in a light way, when you have to be very clear and direct with someone to say something that is going to create conflict, you have to be able to stand soft, not hard. Stand soft to say, in my clarity, it's like this. Tell me how this feels. This the way to say it that is like the most powerful, and the timing. And I think that's where you pray. You say, show me the right time to have this conversation. Bring the way that this happens in the win-win timing.
Because the two has a 6 in Pluto, so you're supposed to kind of sit with, you know what I mean, and think about this. Like, let me, where is this coming from? Because when we look at the 6, it starts at the top and goes back into itself. So it has that energy of really having to take your time, and they also, again, have to trust themselves and knowing. And that's why you'll also see 2s and 6s follow each other throughout the spreads and the plates as well, because that's that mirror, that's that reflection energy. You get back what you put out. So if you come and you're being nasty or you're acting out of fear, people are going to respond exactly that way to you.
Yeah, they're going to mirror you like at the horses at my job with the equine therapy. The horses imitate your energy. But
Yeah.
I'll say the root of what I think it is for most of us is the addiction to approval, like the way that
Mm-hmm.
approval gave you juice, and the sense of rejection. I think it's rejection that literally feels like pain in the body when you get rejected, right? Like it's working through those rejection stories because you're a part of why they keep happening, right? Because there really isn't rejection, there's only protection and timing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
And
there's
that's
a
the thing
TV.
with the six is the timing. Go ahead, Rashad. Sorry.
No, you good. Yeah, go ahead.
No, I was just saying that that goes with the six being in Pluto for the two of clubs is the timing of things.
Yeah, there's a TV. No, I'll say TV show. There's YouTube is TV these days, right? But there's a show where there's like a guy and a girl, and these got what guys and girls, and they have people in line, and they pop a balloon, and so they're in front of them, and as soon as they walk in the room, they can pop it immediately if you don't like that particular person. But you start to talk and you start to speak and communicate, and then they pop it as you say something that you don't like, or or but that fear of rejection, I think, is very real, and there is a sense of timing and understanding that everyone isn't kind of meant for you. The the meeting of the conversation, there's a sense of discovery that comes out of that in itself. So that's what the Six of Clubs is. It's a discovery, right? Six of Clubs transforms into the Ace of Spades. So people meet here and we discover, we communicate, we communicate what we share. Is there any shared knowledge, values? Is there anything that we can use here? Okay, then if there's not, then we just go our separate ways. Or who stays? There's a shared value here. It's something that we've gained and something that we can negotiate or maybe compromise, see what works, see what doesn't work, and whatever way it is. But yeah, but if you fear the conversation from the beginning, or you fear the advice, I think that's the two of clubs. And also with the kings, the twos do have the kings around them. A lot of the twos, king, two of diamonds,
Hmm.
uh, has a jack of spades, but the two of hearts has the two kings, the two of clubs has a king, and the two of spades has a king. So yeah, that sense of maybe letting go as well, or rulership, or authority, or this
That's
battle because
control. I think that
control.
comes to the controlling of others. Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
With
but
And
there's
that's where you don't trust that they're going to do it your way or you might get
right,
rejection. Like, because
right.
the body pretty much, it's pain or fear, right? It's like pain or pleasure, So it's like we're deciding all the time what's going to create pain, what's going to create pleasure. And most of the time we're trying to create pleasure, right? So when something creates pain, we're building systems to get that shit out. But the thing is, it's not necessarily meant to be pain. It's just something different. It's just an integration. It's just new information.
Mm-hmm.
like you said, it has to be a softening there as well. I think as men, we don't want to soften. So, but like you said, because of those built systems, or anything that you built to protect yourself against the rejection, or anything else. But yeah, we're at 2:30 now, so I don't want to keep us here too longer. That is the two of clubs. So next week, going into next week or this week, looking at the pain body, I guess what that Nina calls it, but the two of clubs communicating, having to take the higher road. But also I think there isn't a strength in making sure who you are, and knowing what you know as well, valuing expertise, valuing knowledge, as well, but having to have negotiation skills, having to compromise in some type of way is a key. It's a skill that you have to have. I mean, discernment, is there. So, yeah. Anything else anyone wanted to say?
Watch your mouth this week.
Wait,
Go
what?
slow. Go slow. Do it slowly. Make sure you're paying attention.
All right. Well, thank you all for showing up. I see J Lo. Thank you for coming out. We did answer your question. Drea, appreciate you coming out. Marika, thank you for coming out. Nice to see you again. The G Shop. That's Lewis, I believe. What's going on, Lewis? Thank you for coming out. Said this is Lewis, right? um, Cosmic Sunflower. I love the Six of Clubs people. They're extremely helpful. Of course, I have that Queen of Hearts Venus. It's one reason I did say that. We spoke about that. It keeps them so helpful. Slim, I appreciate you coming out. Top of the debate, everyone. Appreciate you. You and that may have been everyone that was communicating, and anyone else who did not communicate back with us or didn't talk to us. Hopefully, you do next time. Daniela Hall, appreciate you coming out. And my sister Tenor Club's always in her head. So she was talking about Tenor Clubs, and it's just always in her head. So pray for them. I'm gonna pray for mine. I have one in my life. And Drea, pray for her as well. She's an excellent cardologist. Maybe she can get on. She does dive into metaphysics as well, and she has a consulting business and gives readings also. So appreciate y'all. Visit Guided by the Cards. I'm growing with the season. GWTS was it 1191? What is it?
It's GWTS Family 1111.
GWTS Family 1111.
Yeah, I'll put it up there next time. I'll put up my IG.
Yeah, and oh, go ahead.
No, you good. Go ahead.
I just wanted to say again, I'll be starting the course again on, yeah, I am. I'm doing it again. April 20th on Saturdays. So if you're interested, please email me. It'll be good. I'm really excited about going, back through. And I'm probably going to be different than the last time because you see things differently, and you're able to kind of unpack it. It's a constant learning. So I'm excited. If you're interested in my 8-week course, just email me at guidedbythecards@gmail.com and I'll email over the outline and all the information.
All right. So then if I want to tell people to come, they email you at guidedbythecards and say, I want to come to your class. It starts April 20th.
Yes. And also, if you refer somebody and they sign up, I'm going to give free, you'll get a reading. I'm going to give a reading, for anybody.
Oh, that's such a great idea. Gina,
Yeah,
that's so reciprocal. That's beautiful, honey. Good medicine.
For anybody who gets a friend to sign up for the class, I will give you a free reading for referring them.
That's cool. I definitely want to talk to you about something.
Make sure y'all say Rashad signed you up so I can give a free reading. As Rashad sent me here.
Get Rashad out of his head. Let him hear the wisdom from Gina. Just start paying for Rashad's readings. It's going to change his life. We're going to watch him transform. Anybody who goes to Gina's class, say Rashad sent you. We're going to get him regular readings and see what happens.
Yep. That's funny.
But no, Valen said she has to tell you about, speak with you about someone, right?
I do. I want to speak to you about something, but I won't do it here. But yeah, I'm going to call you.
Okay.
Yeah, that's good. It's perfect. I love the way the universe does what it does. I tell you, I'm so grateful. This has been in my prayer. So I'm excited that you're doing that. I love when people kind of take their spot and start growing it great, because that means we can co-create and different circles can touch circles and make it bigger. So
yeah, I'm excited. So it was good.
Go. It was so good. And you should record it this time and make a series that can be bought for less. Do you know what I mean? You should definitely record it.
I have. Actually, I've had people reach out to me. That's another thing too. It is recorded. The first one was recorded. I've actually had a few people purchase it, for less than what because they're not there live, but they were able to. I sent all the recordings. I even sent the study groups
Gina,
too.
that's awesome.
It came with it. So.
Well, let me just tell you, anyone who's listening to this, if you want to learn about the cards, I went through a lot of different trainings and sat through a lot of conversations. Gina's sensibility really, with me being the King of Diamonds, really matches me. And it allowed me to take it in completely differently and find out how I read them. Because I think the way you meet anything is the way you meet it. And Gina does it so sensibly that she invites you to meet it the way you do. And she's curious like that to see, because as fixed as she is, she won't know what you're thinking unless you tell her.
Right.
And she grows smarter. I mean, we've grown smarter together over these years. You know what I mean? Because that's the way it works.
And that's why it's called Cardology and You, because that was one of my biggest things, was so that how do you see these plates? I know how I see them. I'll share with you how I see them. But that was a big part of the last probably a few weeks of the class, right? We did those, you do a reading. I want to see how you would read this, and nothing is wrong. I want to see how you see it, and then I
Mm-hmm.
can maybe give you other different ways, or just, but I love that because it was just such a good experience to have other
Exactly.
people be able to look at these plates and make them make sense. Because that's always my whole thing is make it make sense.
Dude, it's
So
such a
thank you.
healthy,
Thank
detached
you.
way to be a Savaho.
Yeah.
Right? Because like you get to like help so many people and be detached. Like you get to put it out there and be like, here's the puzzle pieces, everybody, as simple as I can make them. Peace.
It works, right? I gotta save. I gotta have that. I gotta save somehow. And I think
Well,
this
no,
is.
but you're also growing your grace. And
Oh yeah.
that's really being your own lighthouse is what really brightens it up for everybody. So
Oh
I'm
yeah.
so excited to hear you doing that. Thank you.
Yeah. April 20th, Ace of Diamonds Day, big Jupiter Uranus conjunction too. I didn't even. I just popped. It's funny. I was actually. What's interesting about that week, real quick, is that week's the Three of Clubs week, and I was on the phone with the Three of Clubs, and it was talking to her that I was like, you know what? I got to start teaching this again. And I said, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to do it in the week that is your week. And that's exactly what happened.
Mm-hmm. So no, that's funny. I actually did have a dream last night of doing classes as well, but I would wait until after Gina does her classes, but it wouldn't be in the same sense. But we'll
No,
speak
it'd be the
about.
deeper dive with the professor. Are you kidding me? Like Rashad's like the
No, no,
professor. Like
no,
he
you
goes
didn't
so
want that.
intuitively deep. That Ace of Spades speaks. You just got to be able to follow. Like, no, Rashad's deep, man. Like he
Yeah,
gets it on a
I
very
lose
deep
myself.
level.
Yeah, I would lose myself.
Like you got to ground him every now and then, but he's growing the gold. Like he's putting the puzzle pieces together. That's why Nick's got fucking notes sitting there. He knows.
No, but
Facts.
we had did a series prior, and I would probably do it on like YouTube or something. But yeah, I was just saying that because I had a dream about doing classes as well, but maybe incorporating everyone, into like a group session or group class. And we'll do like every single card or every card, and we'll take a deeper kind of dive as far as like each particular card. So that'll be coming up, and we'll kind of speak about that. And but I'll make sure that it's after Gina's done with her classes, so it's way in the future. So how long will your course, or how long will it be,
It's 8
or how
weeks.
long is it?
Eight.
Eight
It's just 2
weeks.
months. Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah.
So and it starts from the
April
420
20th.
Ace.
Yep. Mm-hmm. And the last part
Um,
of it is, the really interactive of readings and stuff like that. So the first part is all the, information. There's PDFs with each week, full of all different breakdowns of the cards and stuff like that. So
so it's next Saturday to give, not next Saturday, Saturday after next, to give
yeah, 2
people an
weeks,
idea. So in
basically.
2 weeks. So
Yep.
as
While you're
should they
doing
have,
that, I'm going to be at a reggae festival in Zion, and I'm going to dance energy into everywhere in the world that it spreads.
There you
I'll
go.
do my part.
and they have to sign up through your Instagram, or where they sign up at?
No, just email me because I'm going to then send over the outline so you understand what each week is, what we're going to be working on, the cost, the breakdown of that, just all the information that comes with it. It's just easier to email.
What's your email, Gina? We don't know your
Oh,
email.
guidedbythecards@gmail.com. Or they can
Okay, so
message me
guided by
through
the
Instagram.
email.
Hmm?
Okay. Email is guidedbythecards@gmail.com or Instagram. All right. So we
Yeah.
just have to make sure we know where to reach you at. All right. All right. So if y'all have any other questions, I know I said that 20 times. We're going to get on out here. We're going to speak with you all later. Next week is the Two of Clubs week, and we'll see what comes up for the Two of Clubs. If y'all see anything about it, send it to me. But if you have any questions, if it's in your spread, in your life path, or if maybe in the United States spread, who knows where is that for you or where you recognize that, let us know, and we'll speak about it next week. We appreciate you all, and see you next week.
Hey,
Bye,
Rashad,
everybody.
and yeah, bye, everyone. When you end the live, can you guys stay for a second?
Okay.
Sure. But peace, everybody.